Hello, everyone, and welcome to Recipe for Reality, the podcast where we talk about Survivor, Big Brother, and that's kind of it. This format. We used to we used to
That
tackle a
that
lot
is
more.
it.
Yeah, but we might have to go back to Amazing Race soon, considering the fact that we are going to get a lot of Big Brother couples. We had a little debrief in the chat before about that, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to cover the first 2 episodes of Survivor 48. Zach and I, if you guys missed, we've been doing our power rankings on TikTok. So if you want to know where we think all these people are ranking week by week, check us out there. But this is going to be kind of a recap show, just recapping the episodes. And of course, our annual fantasy draft, not annual, biannual, I guess, fantasy draft where we'll be drafting the players here. And I think there's a lot of good contenders this year, right, guys?
Yeah.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Feels like a good cast. I like this cast probably about as much, if not more, than I've liked any of the other casts in the last 7 seasons. So I'm a big fan of them. I don't think I've liked a cast this much since 44,
Nice.
which feels like
I
eon.
would agree.
Yeah.
I feel like there's nobody left that I don't care about, which is really bad.
And I don't think I didn't care about the first 2 boots either.
Right. Like I didn't
Right.
even not care about that.
Like I had one person I went into the season from preseason interviews absolutely hating, and I even like him now. So
Yeah, is that someone who's still in the
Everyone
game,
does.
not in the game anymore?
Still in the game.
Okay, I'm interested to hear who that is.
Oh, we know
Yeah,
who it
you
is.
guys have heard their
it
voices.
should be obvious.
You guys have heard their voices. They've been obviously here talking, but I should introduce you properly. Austin and Ingrid, welcome back to the show. How's it going?
Hello.
I'm so
what are your
excited
thoughts
to
on-
be here. I love
Yeah,
you.
it's so great to have you back on another draft. Sorry, I'm recording, trying to get adjusted to this new environment. This is my first podcast in Toronto recording. I probably shouldn't disclose where I am, but now I
Well,
know. But
are you in New Mexico?
Am I? It's a very big city, so like the chances of you finding me is slim. I'm not even gonna put it out there anymore. But yeah, I'm getting adjusted to these surroundings, these new acoustics, if you will. But what have you guys been thinking about this season so far? Austin, Ingrid, you're our guests. We'll throw it over to you. What have you thought? You said you like all the cast, but like, what do you think of this first 2 episode chunk? This first 3.5 hours of the show that we've seen so far.
I mean, it's definitely been entertaining. I think we've talked about this on the podcast before, how both of us are teachers. I've been slowly introducing my kids to Survivor. And I'll show, I had them all pick a preseason winner.
Oh, cool.
And that was really fun. And I will show them the tribal council so that they can kind of see what happened. And every day they're like, when's the new one? And I'm like, guys, back in the day, you had to wait a whole week for the next episode of your favorite show.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Streaming babies, they have no idea.
Hey.
Look, they were born in 2011 at the oldest. It's really disturbing. But but that's been really fun. But also because of that, I'm watching certain scenes 8 times, which I'm not used to. But that being said, it hasn't been boring to me to watch it that many times, which means that the season is doing really well for me.
Yeah.
And I just said, I really like the cast. I'm not really meh on anyone. Even if I don't like a character, it's there's still an emotion there, which I appreciate.
Sure. Yeah. Awesome. What are your thoughts on the season so far?
Yeah, no, I'm in a similar boat. I also have, with my classes, I showed them all the 1 minute meet the cast beforehand and had them all write down their favorite, least favorite, and their winner pick. And each week I'm giving them an update on who went home and whether or not that was any of their winner pick or anything. So
we have a poster in the back of the room when I cross it off.
Yeah, so do they watch it in the classroom or no? They watch it.
I don't show. So I like some of my classes more than others.
I hope they're watching.
Some of them.
This is on the internet.
Some of them deserve to be able to watch the tribal council.
Survivor is definitely a reward for my kids as well.
And
if they behave, then I'll be I'll show them a little more or a little less.
Some of them do not deserve to be able to watch the tribal council. So mine's definitely, some of them were watching, some of them are not. We're
I
also
don't mean like
I used to run an after school survivor club at my school. Most of my people that stay and do that, they were all seniors last year, so most of them, like all of the ones that were in it before this year, no longer go to the school. I have a lot that want it to happen again, but they're all theater kids, and we are just now getting into tech for our musical. So I was like, after the musical's over, then I'll bring Survivor Club back and you guys can come and watch. So I'm sure I'll get some more opinions from kids, and I'll be seeing it more like she's seen it a lot.
Yeah.
These cats are just
they're going to town on this metal bowl. I'm so sorry.
and the metal bowl's empty, so I don't know why. It's just so annoying over there.
Hang out with it.
Anyway, but no, I'm really enjoying the season. I really, like I said, I like the cast. It's been entertaining, and yeah, no complaints yet. Only complaint is I have no idea how I'm going to do this draft.
That's real.
Cannot hear you, Dylan.
Dylan, you are fully muted. I guess this is where I come in.
What do you think, Zach?
Dylan is trying to figure out what he's going to do. I was saying it. Oh, and he's gone. And now it's my show, just like we always would be. No, I like it. I like this cast a lot. I also sort of don't really know where.
Check. You can hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. I sort of don't know where I'm going to fall on this draft, even just trying to create an order. Normally, it's pretty clear that I will. Normally, it's pretty clear that we'll have some people around for longer than we'll have others around. Like, you can kind of get it out. Like, if we're going by last season, like, it was clear that Rome was not going to be allowed. Or, sorry, buddy. Watch, fan of the channel. Clear that Rome was not going to be. It was clear that Rome was not going to be around for probably the long game or the end game. So being able to kind of like weed him out as like, yeah, I want to put him down lower in the totem pole. I guess there are sort of kind of those moments in this cast where like I can kind of see someone not being a longevity versus someone who like I think probably has a little bit more. What's the word? Longevity. The word that I just said. So I get you can sort of see it, but it's not as clear as other seasons, which I do like. I like having that kind of I don't know. Something could happen, something could not happen. Who knows? It's good to have a cast that is not so cut and dry that you feel like you're going to be able to predict the season. And I like all of them, so I can't even be upset about anything.
Right.
Like, that's really the good stuff. I'm not going to be upset with who I get tonight. I'm going to be excited. I honestly, for the first time ever, had an issue trying to figure out, am I going to pick someone even though I don't really like them, but I think they're going to be here a while because I don't think they're going to lose. Like, I don't know. And so they're a little bit like in the this draft is just a bunch of middle of the road picks. My top picks are people who I like and want to be here.
Right.
My middle of the roads are sort of like, this is who I think probably is going to be here a long time. And my bottom is like, I don't really know where, but I can't imagine it will be bad. Like, that's sort of where I'm at.
And also, like, we've only seen one tribe go to tribal so far, so we don't really know what the other dynamics really are until we see that. And two, you learned last year that you don't need to have the winner to have a lot of points. You have to have the winner to win, as Ingrid showed last year. She had the winner and she won
several times.
But a lot of your points, Zach, came from idols or challenge wins. I mean, Kyle racked up a bunch just from winning challenges, even though he wasn't a big confessional machine. So it also could just be like, all right, who's going to win a lot of challenges, even if they're 8th or 7th place, you know? And I do want to bring up one thing, just since we're on the topic of feeling good. Zach, you're going to feel a lot better when I show you that you took a...
Show it to me, baby.
Where is it? There it is.
Show it to me, baby.
There we go. Look at you. So Zach had Kevin in the 8th spot. I had him at 4. I had him the safest person on green because I thought him and Justin were running the show. And I thought that what would happen is Say would play her idol, they would flush it out and go for her number 1, Cedric. And it ended up being Cedric and Say, but they were the ones getting the one up on Kevin using Justin as their weapon there. So very interesting. That tends to be a tradition for me, is that my second boot pick is always just so unpredictable. Because I had TK. I didn't have TK at all that high last time, but he was my preseason winner pick, and now Kevin is my number 4 going into week 2, ends up getting sniped out on green. But let's just really quickly just chat about each tribe really quick, just the dynamics, where we think they're at. This can kind of be our recap portion of the episode, but let's start with the safest, I would say, which is the safest and has all the advantages, so we know what's in each hands, and that's orange. They might not be the most dominant tribe, but the Siva tribe, in terms of, we know the advantages in Kyle's hands, he has it. We know who's on the outs, it's Mitch, it's Charity, and we know that David is the big character that we thought he would be, but not necessarily on the outs as we thought he might also be, Zach and I. But Zach, I'll start with you. What do you think of this orange tribe dynamic now, having seen them play 2 weeks?
Okay, I'm sad. Charity was my winner pick. I don't want her to leave. I would like her to stay. I need her to stay. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. And by it, I mean David. I don't hate David. I like the tribe a lot. I'm honestly more shocked because Dylan, when we were talking in our preseason interviews, I thought this would be a little bit more cut and dry in terms of, like, I gotta stop saying cut and dry. I thought this would be a little bit more a little more organized in a different fashion, right? Like, I talked a lot about, like, Charity and Kyle. I could see that Mitch was sort of I thought that Mitch might be someone that, like, people gravitated towards and kind of grabbed in. But I will say, what I think is interesting is I think that the show really likes Mitch. I think the show enjoys showcasing Mitch and showcasing his journey. One of the things that I did last week after watching and before submitting the power rankings, and honestly something that kept Mitch away from the bottom for me, was they showcased him in that, like, clips from Next Time, and it was Jeff talking, like, do you want people to help you, and do you want them to finish your sentences? And he was like, no, like, I appreciate it, but I just want people to, like, let me finish. And I thought that was such a cool moment. I will be very upset to see Charity and Mitch go because they're on the outs. But I just think David's the real shock of that. I think we thought David would be a completely different person and player than he actually is.
Yeah.
He might be the same person, but they're liking that. They see him as that goofball rather than, like,
shout out Haley Keener,
annoying everyone. Yeah.
Shout out Haley Keener, watcher of the channel. She sent me something today that is all David, and then just wrote Gaston underneath it. So, like, I think that kind of gives
real.
You have,
it's
like,
so real, yeah.
You love to hate him, but, like, not really hate him. Like, if Gaston was, like, a likable individual, which I still is like, you're still Gaston.
What's surprising is that he's gelling with his tribe more than, like, Jonathan was his. Like, Jonathan had Omer, but, like, he clashed with Lindsay, he clashed with Marianne. So he obviously clashed in the merge with Drea and stuff. So it's really cool to see, like, him just be, because he's so old school, because he's not playing the strategic game necessarily, but he's still doing stuff. He's still making alliances and stuff, but it feels very old school.
We watched old school season because we talked about this. I think that, like, he is not a survivor per se. Like,
right, he's the precious to it. Yeah.
So while in quarantine, that's probably what he was watching, right? He was watching these older seasons. He probably back and forth. So you can see, like, that influence of that kind of game.
Yeah.
Now, what happens, like, later on? Because that's not the type of game people can play anymore.
Especially if there's a swap, like, where does David fall? But I like the tribe dynamics. I like how this season, it's kind of been teased as, like, a duo season where there's a lot of central relationships of duos. And I think we're definitely seeing that with both Mitch and Charity a little bit, but also especially Kyle and Camilla. I think that's a really fun, surprising duo to have. Camilla, we were super down on preseason just because we didn't think she would fit in, but she is fitting in really well. She's actually kind of the brains of that tribe. Even Kyle's name has been thrown out before hers. Like, Charity's going after Kyle, which is crazy. I never would have thought that, but it could be the TK Asia thing, though, of, like, Kyle and Kevin go off on the mission, and, like, who's getting the second boot? It's Kevin. Who's on the outs of his tribe? It's Kyle. So it could be one of those situations, you know. But Austin, Ingrid, what do you think of the orange tribe dynamic?
You want me to go?
Yeah, you can always go first.
I can always go first. So yeah, I mean, I really like pretty much all of them. I'm absolutely floored that I find David entertaining. I thought I was going to hate him. I just think there's a little more depth to him than what the preseason showed. Not even in, like, an emotional way, but just, like, he's funny. And, like the way that he says things sometimes is really funny. Like, what did he said, like, that is not a word. Blah, blah, blah. And he, like, said it in, like, a weird voice, talking about the, like, humble quirks or whatever, and, like, that kind of stuff. And so, like, that's been really fun. I don't want them to lose because I really like Charity. I really like Mitch. My kids really like Charity, so I want her to stay around for a while because I don't want, like, a bunch of them to lose their favorite really early because I think that will completely shoot the buy-in. But, like, I really like the tribe. I like the dynamics. I think, like you said,
Goodbye, Dylan.
Like you guys said, it's the dynamics are very different than what I expected, and I like that. Like I like the dynamics are different.
Sorry, I'm getting adjusted to this new. I also got a new laptop, so it's also like trying to figure out. It's like buzzing. I have to get off and on, whatever. But I'll figure it out by this time next week. But did Austin also talk about the orange?
No, but no, I like the dynamics as well. I was also high on Charity going in. I feel like that was like across the board. Most people were.
Mm-hmm.
I had a few of my kids really like Charity, but most of my kids that like Charity just like Charity, like think she's hot. Yeah. So I don't necessarily know that I would lose a ton of buy-in if she went out from my kids in particular.
It's like almost 30% of my kids.
No, we'll talk later about the person that if when they go, I will lose a lot of buy-in from my kids. But anyway,
Charity's one of them.
But yeah, so but the thing is until the second episode came out, I will say the second episode for me helped Charity a lot in terms of like, would I care if she left? Like after first episode, I was like, yeah, if Orange goes, Charity can go and I'll be fine. Like I like the other 5 people more right now. But I think Charity had a really fun second episode. So now I'm back on board with like, I don't really want Orange or like Green could keep losing.
Yeah, and they're all fun personalities too. Like I love the whole segment with like the warts and the belly button, and even Chrissy in that.
I want to know what Camilla's humble trait is. We didn't get to see it.
We didn't get it.
Kyle shut down the humble trait talk when they were making fun of his wart. We didn't get Camilla's.
Well, let's talk about the purple tribe next. The oh my gosh, what is it? Lagi tribe? Yeah. Because this is the tribe that I was highest on going into the season. I'm very happy because they're also the highest I am right now on a tribe. Because like I generally don't want any of them to go. Even Star, who's on the outs, who's like coming after my faves. Like I still love Star's hustle. I love that she's trying. The only problem is she's aligning the whole tribe against Eva, whereas the whole tribe is really against her. But I think that's such a cool dynamic. And then you have Thomas wanting to like ditch the clue altogether. Shaheen, who's like, I can't do that. But also Eva being that target of Star, not necessarily realizing that she even like said anything to bother her, but then also that autistic storyline with also Joe having that back and helping her out too. And then Bianca's there as well, but we also see Bianca's in a duo with Thomas. So we're getting a lot of great character stuff in this episode. What? Oh, who's Bianca? She's got the smalls in it, but I at least know who she's aligned with, which is something that I think most invisible players by episode 2, if I don't know who they are and I don't know where they're aligned, like we never really find out. Unless you're Genevieve, and even then she didn't really have a solid alliance, and we knew like, oh, that's her ally because we thought it was Rome, and then it wasn't, and then we thought it was Kishan, and it wasn't. So I really like that tribe, though. I don't want to see them lose. I don't think they will anytime soon. We'll see. I think Green is doomed, but Austin and Ingrid, what are your thoughts on this purple tribe?
Yeah, I'm obsessed with them. I love them so much. I love all of them. I don't want to give away specifically who my favorites are because we have a draft to do. But like, God, I just love them. I love them a lot. And kind of what you were saying about the duos game, you definitely see that on this tribe a lot. And I'm interested to see how that goes, especially with all this chaos that's brewing with like Thomas and Star. And some of that preview for the next episode makes me a little nervous.
Yeah. Well, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Like, what do you think of this advantage? Do you keep it from Star? Do you rope her in and then go after Eva? But then you're also probably going after Joe. Like, what do you do if you're
I don't blame them.
Shaheen in this situation?
It's hard because like, and especially I don't know how active on like the Twitterverse you guys are. If you've seen Star's tweets, like Star's not happy. Star is very like Star's even like kind of claiming a little bit of it maybe being a race thing too, which I was like kind of surprised by. But like, she, if you get the chance to go over to the Twitter world and find Star's Twitter,
it's a little scary over there.
She is yelling in every tweet is in all caps talking about how she feels like her tribe is like bullying her. And that it's not all right. She's like, I'm already on the bottom, and
it reminds me of Venus 2.0.
You're just pushing me even farther to the bottom. Twitter. Yeah, like just feeling like a lot of like I feel like she feels like the not really trying to actually help her is unnecessary. Which like, but like I get the strategy.
But also, like,
to
what
it
are
too.
They gonna do? Be like, no, I'm not gonna help you.
It's really hard
And I think it's because the core of this tribe, and it's funny because preseason Mitch in his press said that he wanted an all guys alliance, and I was pissed off about that. And now like my favorite alliance on the show is the three guys, the California girls. Yeah. But I think that's what complicates it, is because Joe has Eva, and that's unconditional. Thomas has Bianca, that's unconditional. And like I thought it was going to be a battle of like, who do we keep, Eva or Bianca? But it really seems like it's more so, no, we got them both. Shaheen's the one who is the closest to Star, and it's either do I go with Star or do I go with these four? And I really think at this point it's just Star couldn't crack something that was already so strong. But I'm very interested to see what happens if Star finds the idol. You know,
and I think that's the thing. I think it's just she waited, and like because the thing is like I'm very proud of Star in the episodes of Star being like, she acknowledges the fact that she wasn't the first to like jump into talking to people, which I thought was going to be her strength with her sales background and everything like that we saw in the preseason. I really thought that she was just going to like be this social butterfly, and it really didn't happen in that first episode. And I will say, I know you were saying that you were nervous about the preview. My thought of like how that all works out with like the Star and Thomas, I almost wonder if like Thomas really wants to get rid of that hint, and that's him going to Star being like, give me the little diagram thing, I'll solve it, and then he's gonna lose it.
And like the thing about that is like, I just kind of feel like I never want to be like she's wrong, but like what we are being shown on the show is that they all solidified these bonds on day one, and she was off doing her own thing, and then she's coming back and saying, oh shoot, I gotta connect with some people, when those bonds are already solidified, and then being upset when they don't want to work with her to target somebody they're close to. And that's what I'm like confused about. So like, I don't know what we aren't being shown, or if there is that level of like, come on.
And the catch to this thing is, even if everyone figures it out, she has the cipher, right?
Correct. And that's
so
the other part of it, is like, do they want to give her a weapon that she can use against them? Like,
and unless I think,
and I don't blame them for not wanting to do that.
Yeah, your best optimal strategy is either wait for the merge and then be like, all right, let's do this, or like try to crack the code and then like make Shaheen just like make it seem like he's the owner of it. Like, I'll take care of it.
Or like give her the wrong code, because as we've seen, they're all the same letters in different combinations.
Because another thing is, even if Shaheen does decide, oh, I kind of want to side with Star's targeting Eva. She's not targeting Thomas and Bianca, because I think naturally the smart thing would be Thomas and Bianca. They're schemy, like get rid of them. But the problem is it's Eva, the one who's being targeted, and Joe's not going to go there at all. And you can't get to
and
Eva.
All because she was like, "Hey, Star, maybe you should sit out of the challenge." And Star's like, "You can't tell me what to do." And then where's Star? Sitting out of the challenge. So, like, I don't like. What is it all for, man? I don't understand.
Zach, what are your thoughts on this tribe?
I was going and finding all of Star stuff. It's a weird part of Twitter.
I had a feeling that's what you were doing.
It's very scary. I'm literally right here. Like, I have her whole feed open. Which is so funny because I love this whole tribe. I just don't want them to go. I like all of them. I think I was honestly more nervous because I love Eva so much. I talked about that on our what's it called? I talked about that on our preseason, like our rankings and whatnot. You know, Eva is a really big character for me for personal reasons, but I also love seeing her like excel. And Dylan, it's sort of something that like we called in that first episode or that first preseason interview where we said like her communicating her disability was going to be a huge factor into what happened. The fact that Joe, after like 1 second speaking to her and her being open and honest, was like, I'll die for her. And I was like, God damn. Already?
I'm just going to say one thing. I might not have the winner of the season pegged. I may not. Like Thomas may be the next boot because he was my winner pick. Who knows? But what I will always have over Zach this season is that Zach was like, of everyone on this tribe, Joe's the one with the least sparkle. And I was like, he's the one with the most sparkle to me. And now he's number one on popularity pools 2 weeks in a row. No, I know. I'm messing with you.
I'll admit when I'm wrong.
Joe has so much sparkle. And he's like he's someone that there's no way they let him get to the end. But if he gets to the end, it's going to be one of the most like Jeremy Collins, Adam Klein, where like everyone's going to love him. A unanimous vote, like one of those dominant winners. Like I could really see that happening.
Do I have it? Oh no, I think it was a Snapchat. Maybe it will. Oh no, it isn't. I sent Dylan this picture and it's me watching the
Yeah,
Fucking
everybody. That's everybody.
actively, if you can see it, with tears in my eyes.
same, bro.
It was so satisfying to see that. And then also, I love Thomas. I love the Thomas and Bianca. I know Bianca's not really like the character of the season right now, but I love the fact that like I kind of thought that Bianca was going to be sort of like nothing and like the annoying character on that tribe, and I actually think that she is her ability to like kind of ride with Thomas is a really, really cool dynamic because I like the two of them. I think they're different enough. I said this about Star, that I said Star I think was going to have the hardest time because of her like firecracker personality, but I don't think I thought that Eva would be the problem for her. I think that that's the most interesting dynamic for me, is that like Eva sort of is the problem for her. I thought it would be, and then I'm even like reading her Twitter, and the whole thing is like talking about the Californians and talking about like this like her against the Californians and like those California bitches, like that whole thing. So it is sort of what we thought on, or what I thought on like the original ranking, but also so different because I didn't think Eva would be as big of like a. I would love to see a turnaround arc for the two of them. Where and I think that it's possible because the two of them are so different.
It was one comment, like
right.
We can make it through.
And man. I almost wonder if there is some sort of turnaround because on like if you look at that Star Twitter feed, she's not talking about Eva anywhere.
Only talking about.
I will say though, if there's any animosity toward Eva and she didn't know the circumstances of Eva being a little more blunt because of her disability, I think that could also be part of like if she then starts dunking on Eva, it could come across in a certain way that like dunking on Star comes across a racially motivated way. Dunking on Eva does like the opposite for like
an ableist.
I don't want her to go anywhere. I want that whole tribe to really stick around because I think that's a promise.
And you know what's great is that Eva and Star, despite Star sitting out, probably because she said she wasn't the best swimmer, but like Star is a basketball player. She's going to be great in challenges. Eva is really good in challenges. Joe, Shaheen, and Thomas are all good in challenges. Even Bianca's their puzzle person. That's why they're not losing as long as they don't.
They're not losing.
And the thing is like, and the thing is like, even if they were to go to tribal, like they couldn't vote based on strength. And that's why I think like even Star's names being out there, do you really want to lose them? Because they could be two of the strongest. Maybe you want to go for Thomas and Bianca, but then you need them for puzzles where it's like, there's no weak link. This is the most overpowered tribe I've ever seen, even though no one is a Jonathan. But Joe's close.
Yeah. It's literally like Kevin talked about in like some preseason interviews where he was looking at like Joe, David, and Kyle as the three like Goliath men on the season. Like he was shocked. He was shocked that like Kyle, like he thought for sure he had one of those three guys on track. He did not expect himself to be.
And then he gets the shoulder injury, so he doesn't even have that.
But like I don't even know that like David and Kyle are any stronger than Shaheen and Thomas. Like I really think Joe, they just put the three strongest guys on purple.
And the two, I would say Eva and Star are probably the two strongest
girls. Two strongest women too.
I mean, maybe you could also make a case for Charity, maybe, or even Chrissy. And Chrissy, I'll say she's giving me Janet Carbon vibes.
We didn't talk about her with Orange, but I'm really enjoying Chrissy. I think she's a lot of fun.
That belly button lady.
And before we move on from Augie, the last thing I want to say about Star is that is the person who I was trying to reference earlier. That I will lose a lot of buyout from my kids if Star goes.
I figured.
I had like 20. I had like 28 of my like 90 kids. Said Star was their favorite.
He once again is a really good example of like great TV. Star is so good, but she's interesting, but also like wants to play the game, which I like. I don't like it when characters are just interesting and have no game to them. She is both interesting and has a lot of game.
And that's what's so funny is because like
Marianne, and I appreciate that.
Right. Yeah. They're not even going to tribal, but they're still so active in the game. Whereas like you look at Orange, I don't think anyone on Orange is really gaming that hard. Even Camilla and Kyle are like, oh, let's figure out this code. Let's crack it. Cool. Put it away. We're good. Holes. You know, like I think that's what's so funny. Yeah. But like that's the thing is like I really think it's great that like we're seeing this totally different vibe where everyone's vibes on both these tribes, but one is all chill. Let's talk about our belly buttons and our toes, and one is like let's all like play this advantage game, but still neither of them are in danger. Which brings us now to Vula, who is a train wreck tribe. But like great characters. The least best character is Justin, and he's probably the most strategically sound. Maybe him or Cedric.
Interesting.
I
that
love
that's-
him.
Interesting that's your pick. I think Cedric's the least character for me.
He's a butt doctor, Austin.
See, but the thing with Cedric that I like though is I think Cedric said preseason he wanted to play like Earl and Cerise, so I'm looking for that. And so the way the challenge went last week, I thought no doubt Cedric was going home because I predicted it in my power rankings, but I thought they're going to go for Say, realize she has the idol, they're going to get Cedric because he was also crap in the challenge. But the fact that the second he got back from the beach, he was immediately in no one's mouth, even though he sucked at the challenge. Everyone was like, nope, loyalty. It is the Cerie Fields game. I'm not going to maximize that too much, but like it's giving that vibe of like he just has the mist where like everyone wants to keep him around. They're not worried about him. We'll cut him at the end maybe, but like, you know, he's a loyal number, but really he's pulling some strings. And he even started to with like Say, like, don't play your idol in this. And obviously his plan wasn't the Kevin plan. That was Say's plan. So Say does get that credit for Kevin's boot. But Cedric was very instrumental in at least putting the plan in motion of, hey, Kevin's coming for you, play that idol. Let's go for Mary. She's the one who spun it. But Cedric got that ball rolling. And I really like Cedric's strategic thinking. But I agree, he is a much quieter character than even Justin. But the two of them are so cool and calm. But that's also why they've been cruising through and making all the decisions. Because Say is such a big personality. Mary's a big personality. Kevin, Stephanie. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that green quartet, Austin and Ingrid? What do you think of them?
This was me talking about Mary. Was this?
Love Mary.
That woman is my diva, the love of my life. I love her so much. I'm so scared for her at all times.
So funny. Oh my god.
I'm worried for her at all times. If you follow her on Instagram, it's literally just like memes of her making fun of herself, and it's incredible. But like, I do fear that this tribe will continue to lose. I fear that this tribe will have to pray for a swap.
Which
we don't get very often.
Some sleuths out there have cracked the code that it's most likely happening because there was something on Shaheen's buff that was like the logo on the other buff, so people thought they color corrected it or whatever. So there's rumors that there will be a swap, but
it's not impossible.
Everybody pray for Mary. Pray for Mary. I'll pray for Mary.
And we don't know if that's pre-planned, like, oh, we're gonna swap at 15, or if it's like, oh, they're getting decimated, let's swap, like they did with 45, because that's what happened when Lulu kept losing. Right. So like I think that either means we're definitely losing a green, or it was just pre-planned, we're gonna swap at 15 anyway, and we're overthinking it. But yeah, what do you think of that dynamic though? Yeah,
I mean, it's interesting to me because I think there's a competition for complex tribe between Lagi and what are they, Vula, the green ones.
Yes.
And like, I think we would have gotten that whether they were losing or not. Because like when you have somebody like Say on your tribe, you're not allowed to not be hard, like play hard, whatever. And like, look, I'm not Say's biggest fan, but she makes me feel a lot of feelings, and I appreciate that. And at the same time, I think she's hilarious, but I also like
want to rip your hair out.
Yeah, I also like find her style of gameplay annoying, and like. It bothers me, and obviously she's going after people I like, and that makes me mad. But like, she's also such an interesting character for all of those same reasons.
Yeah.
Some of the people we watch with have compared her to Rome, but I like her more than Rome.
That's what I was gonna say.
She's definitely more of a person than Rome was.
Yeah, she is definitely more of a human being than Rome was. Rome was very like, this is my character, I am Rome. Where she's like,
that's her.
I'm a human, and this is why I am this way. Yeah. Like when she was screaming about Cedric, and then was like, "Sorry, I didn't mean to scream." Like I was like, "That's me coded so hard." Like she still has redeeming qualities, even though she like drives me nuts.
Yeah, I think the thing with Say is, I think the big thing. I think one of my biggest issues with Rome was how it's like David in this preseason, how full of himself he was, and I don't feel like Say is full of herself.
Not at all.
Like at least not like. Some of her stuff on Twitter, I'm like, all right, Say, you're a little a little more full of yourself than I thought. But like on this show, like she gives a lot of the credit to like the women before her in her life, which I think is really cool and really like inspiring.
She played her idol on her grandma. She didn't even play
her idol on her grandmother.
And
yes,
her grandma will not count.
But at the same time, like I like. She misplayed that idol on her grandmother. She didn't need to play it.
Well,
like, there are some
think if you're at a tribe of 5 where you've heard that the person you're going for is going for you to flush your idol.
Fair.
Yeah,
it's totally fair. I think one thing that we were kind of led astray by in the edit, that I literally listened to Kevin's exit interview with RHAP this morning. So it's like fresh in my brain. Something that I feel like we were led astray by was this idea of this like guy alliance on the Green Tribe.
Right.
Whereas that was never actually a thing in Kevin's mind. Like he thought it was a thing, but like after watching the episode, he's like, no, it was very much Justin, Cedric, and Say, and I was brought in as the fourth.
Right.
Because like last episode, we're meant to
trio is the alliance.
Yeah, because last episode we're meant to think it's Justin and Kevin dictating the vote.
Right.
And then even this vote, it felt very much. I think this is an editing problem too, because I didn't understand why Justin flipped. I understood why Cedric and Say voted the way they did, and obviously Mary couldn't vote.
Beach Boy.
Yeah.
But like, I like him. But
Kevin,
what's the vibe there? Yeah.
Well, according to Kevin too, it really wasn't him and Justin deciding whether or not to flip. He says that when he goes to Justin with the idea to vote out Say in that first episode, Justin shuts it down. Justin does not want to do it. So it never even was an option. It was either going to be a 3-3 tie, or Kevin just had to go with the 4 and vote out Stephanie. And he said he wasn't willing to go to a tie for Stephanie in the first round of the game.
Sorry, Queen.
But he said that he saw the writing on the wall that like if they get rid of Mary and Say still has her idol, he is at like if they go tribal with 4 of them, he knows he's gone.
Yeah.
So he said that his only chance was to get the Say idol gone and survive. Like whether it's Say goes or Mary goes.
Yeah, because now Mary's still in the game. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mary's still in the game. If you do go again, then it's either
Mary,
an easy
please
Mary
get
vote,
that idol.
or Say doesn't have the idol and you make the move on her.
Yeah.
But then the only issue is that Cedric is with Say too. So really, I think Cedric is in the best position on that tribe right now, because no one, everyone's looking at Say because she's just this big, loud personality, power player.
I think there's
has
an argument
idols.
for Justin as well.
The only world in which I see Cedric potentially going is say they lose again,
and it's his fault.
And it's his fault again, and he really is like, guys, just get rid of me.
Yeah.
Like,
but then you could have the Shannon Ricard thing of like, all right, well, Cedric and Say just pick off the other two, and like if we go in the merge with 2 people, like Caleb and Emily did. But another thing is also like, this is how Justin ends up the boot though, is that Mary finds the idol, shows everyone, and then Say and Cedric have to vote because
which
Justin
I think
and Mary
would be most interesting.
Yeah, because then you could get a tie even, and then what if they go on a journey and like Cedric loses his vote? Then Say goes home, but if I think that's what makes it so interesting.
Or Say loses her vote, or
I think that's what's so cool about this 4-person dynamic. But there's a lot of leeway for error. So I'll tell everyone right now, my TikTok tomorrow. I'm saying this now while Zach's still not here. But I have all 4 at the bottom, just because it could go any which way. And I think they're losing again. There just wouldn't be anything that would convince me otherwise, because Kevin is their strong suit and he's out. But what did you think, really quick, on Stephanie and Kevin? We'll give him a little eulogy here until Zach gets back.
I was sad about both, honestly.
I liked both of them. I did not see Kevin coming at all.
No, I thought.
I mean, once we got there, obviously, but like, I really thought that he was going to be better socially. Literally, I can see we have on the wall over there our personal drafts that we did. And Kevin was my number 2 pick. Steph was his number 2 pick.
Yeah.
So
both of our second picks
we were
overall
both really high. And I was mad that he got Steph. Like, I wanted her.
Yeah.
So like we were both very high on both of them early on. And I think they just got I think they got screwed by a lot of stuff. I think they got screwed by being on the weak tribe. I think that Kevin gets screwed by injuring himself, and just the unpredictability
going on the journey,
having a player Say on your tribe, even with the Steph exit interview where she's like, her and Say, like, they could just tell even before they were on the same tribe that they didn't get along.
We definitely played our I'm looking at our personal draft.
Work.
It's like, if we were to do it after the first episode, I feel like picks
it'd all be switched.
Like, Mary was the second to last pick overall. Like,
wow.
I
didn't know her.
I really did not like Mary's preseason interview because she said she wanted to play like Ben, and I'm famously not a Ben Greenbergen fan. So
we did win.
I don't know about you. I did,
and it looks like she's going to be playing that game next week too. She's running into the jungle to find out.
I want to be spy like Ben, and I was like, "There's Tony's right there, girl."
Yeah,
he's right there.
And what's so interesting is that like preseason, it's funny. Zach and I were low on both of them. We both had them both pre-merge. I actually predicted Stephanie as the first boot. He had her as a second boot. Then we both had Kevin in our pre-jury 5. The only reason was because Kevin, he wanted to play the dumb guy, but like he came across very smart and articulate and like putting
he
on
can't
the
help
act.
himself.
And in the very first episode, like you see, like he starts like spitting all this strategy on his mat chat about like this and that and this and that, and it really made me realize I was like, no, this is not the dumb guy. Like he's not going to be able to do that. And then when it's him and Kyle, like Kyle's the one who breaks the vase, and like he's the one who has to like do the finish the challenge. And even after hurting his shoulder, the reason I knew after that first episode Kevin wasn't going to win though was they didn't show the injury getting fixed. And I thought if he was going to be the big character of the season, like in Andy, for example, they showed Andy's aftermath. I think they would have focused on him more. And I should have known then that he would be an early boot, because after the first episode, I was convinced, oh, he's in a good spot. Him and Justin are running the show. I put him at number 4 in my ranking. I should have stuck with my guns. Yeah.
He also said in his next interview that he popped his shoulder out again in that water challenge when he dove off the platform. He felt it like pop. And he
is that why it looked like such a bad dive? Yeah, because the dive is
yes. So that's what it was. So the dive when Jeff tells them to go home, the reason it's a bad dive is because he said that he was thinking, like, he was like, all right, I'm gonna. At first he's like, I'm just gonna hop in, and then he's like, you know what? No, I'm gonna dive. And then as he started to dive, he remembered his shoulder, and so he tried to like pull back, and that's why it looks so like belly floppish. That's why the dive is so bad. Is because he's like
so much hate on
dive changed his mind.
Oh my god. Kevin, what a character. Yeah, I did not see it coming even until the vote. I thought, she doesn't have a vote. Like, I feel like this is just going to be a Mary vote, and like they're giving us a little bit of intrigue of like, oh, maybe it's Kevin, maybe it's Say, and then she played the idol. I was like, all right, it's Mary. I was shocked until the very minute, and then rewatching it, I kind of picked up some clues. But yeah, what was the clue for you?
What clued me in was when Jeff says to Mary or Say, I don't remember which one, just to the pair as a thing. He says something along the lines like, if you guys get through this tribal and you're both still here, what, like, is there a way to mend it? And that to me just read like, oh, they're both here.
But then she said no, so I was like, maybe
she
not.
was like, is that how we mend it? By voting me out? I was like, you tell her, queen.
And she's just like, no, I don't think we'll be able to make it work. She's like, it's because it's not a personality thing. Oh my god, when she goes to vote, Mary is so iconic every moment she's on the screen.
Yeah.
The Lord protect me.
Yeah, I said to Zach, I said, I don't know if Mary's going to win Survivor, but she's going to win Big Brother if they ever put her on. Like, she seems like such a Big Brother coded player.
She gives me, like, this is going to sound racist, and it's not, I promise. But, like, she gives me Rubina vibes in the sense
That's
of,
exactly what I said, too. Yeah, because
like
she has that bubbly...
Like a smaller woman with, like, a big personality that, like, really captivates the screen and, like, may not be the most amazing in challenges and stuff, but like even Rubina had her fair share, but like is still like this great character that we all love. And like I think in a game where she's not on a tribe before people, she could do really well.
Yeah. So I was going to transition to the draft, but I don't know where Zach went. If he's listening, please tell us.
Zach,
are you with us?
Bro?
We can vamp a little longer though.
Also, Dylan, I'm gonna send you really quick. I saw RHAP retweeted a different cast list.
Oh yeah, we can talk about that right now if we want to fill it a little bit. Potential amazing
one
race.
More thing about Say real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Ingrid.
Like so fast. I am in awe every time I see her that she's 30 years old, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I just feel like she's like so youthful. Like she kind of reminds me, like her youthfulness reminds me a lot of like Teeny.
Okay.
And like there's almost like an innocence about her, and like I'm like trying to not because I don't mean it in an offensive way, like not immature necessarily, but like childlike in
it's
certain
almost
ways.
Playful. Yeah.
It's playful. It's like there's this like very youthful energy about her, and then I'm like, oh my god, she's like 6 years older than me.
Right.
And that's like crazy to my brain.
I know. Well, Zach is back, but also if you want to, we can do this later. We can do this later. Also,
I'll just send it. I took a screenshot. I'll send it in the chat.
The Amazing Race cast is not confirmed, but let's get into our draft. We're 45 minutes in. I just want to recap everyone on what this draft is, what it entails, how many point values each thing is worth. So I'm just going to go down the list of what I have. Let me know at the end if you have any objections or if you want to do any point alterations.
Oh my, this point thing that we created last season.
So the winner of the season 10 felt like a lot. 5 didn't feel like enough, so we split the difference at 7. I like that. Days survived, you get 1 point per day. So if you last the whole season, you're going to get 26 points. If you only make it a day or two, you get 2 points. But if you are on an episode, if you make it to the next morning sunrise, boom, you get a point. Find an idol. If you find one, 5 points. This is not the Beware advantage. So Star does not have one yet. Kyle has one, and Say had one. So they would each get 5 points. I'll tally afterwards also how many points the people in game have, because we will add those as well. Idol played on you is 1 point. So if you play for yourself, you get another point. If you've already found it, you'll get 6 points if you play it on yourself as well. If you play it on someone else, then that someone else gets that point for the idol played on them. And every vote that you negate by an idol or a shot in the dark is 1 point. So if you play an idol on someone and it negates 6 points, the person that you played the idol on will get a point, and you will get 6 points for getting those votes negated. And the point goes to the player that uses the advantage. Individual immunity wins are 5 points. Tribal immunity wins are 2 points. Fire making, and that does not include sit out. So Star would not get the points. And I forget who else sat out. Who was it?
Camilla.
Yeah. Tribal immunity wins, I said, were 2 points. If you are the fire making winner, you get 3 points. If you're Sam from last season, if you are taken to final tribal, though, you get 2 points because that's a social maneuver or whatever. Episode title, you get a point if you say the episode. Well, I'm just I've simmered on Sue Smay. So all right, 10 or more confessionals in an episode is 2 points. Now this one I want to float to you guys, because I'm not saying like we should just rack up all our points, but this is a rare case where we saw someone get 20 confessionals in a single episode, which has never been done before. I don't believe. She got 21. Should we make it 2 points for every 10 you get in an episode? So you get 4 points if you get 20, or just keep it at 2 for 10?
I mean,
I'm fine with it.
I'm not bothered, because how many times is that going to happen?
I think we should honor that. I think if you're going to get 20 confessionals, you get 4 points. Okay.
If you're going to have a historic record,
2 points for every 10 confessionals you get in an episode. If you get 0 confessionals in an episode, which hasn't happened yet, but if you get 0 confessionals, you lose a point for that episode. If you lose your vote at tribal, you lose a point. And do we say a shot in the dark's counting toward that? So would Stephanie have lost her vote?
No,
I don't think so, because they made that choice at tribal.
Yeah,
but Mary would lose her vote.
Yeah, Mary would lose.
So Mary would get -1, but Steph would be fine. A vote against. If you get a vote against you, it's a point. Even if it's the idol is played, you still got to vote against you. Voted out with an idol in your pocket, -5 points. If you are from season 46, you're getting -5 points.
So wait, can we rewind really quick for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
The vote against -1 point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like,
But
if you're at the purgatory and 10 people vote for you, you lose 10.
No, that's still fine. That's normal. But what did you say?
Rome lost a lot of points.
Because
I was gonna say, like, if you say is 1 vote, I think it still counts toward her, right?
No.
Have we not done that?
Because they don't go home.
Because that just offsets both things. That would just be a net 0.
That's correct. All right, so we didn't do that. Yep. So if the vote count is 3-0, then it's only those things. You got a good point. Okay.
Because in the wiki and stuff, it would say 3-0 with a star on it. That's
right. Because the big question is, like, so Jeremy, for example, in Cambodia Final 6, did he have a perfect game, or did he have 3 votes against him? That's always the big debate, because he never got a vote against him except for that.
I would say for draft purposes, if an idol is negating the votes, then you're not losing points for those votes.
True, it would be net 0. Okay, yep, you have a good point. So even if we've done that in the past, I don't know how that would shake it out, but I will. We definitely made the terms last time, so we'll just stick with this one now.
I'm sorry, Kelly Whitworth cannot lose 9 points.
No, that's fine. Vote against that does count,
but she would also gain 9 points, is what I'm saying.
Right. Well, I know.
Yeah, so it's 0 points total.
So so idol play should be honored for that for sure. Yeah. But if it's like Rome or Sierra, where you get like a piling of all the votes, there's nothing you can do. I mean, Rome ended last season with only 16 because he had so many votes against him. Medevac, -2 points. So Randon got -2. Quit if you are Hannah Rose or Sean, you get -5 points. Even though Sean was voted out, I think we all deem that a quit. Either way, if you're quitting the game, if you're Johnny Fairplay, whatever circumstance, maybe -5.
If you tell them to vote you out and they vote you out,
it's a quit.
Or Jeff says we don't need to vote. All right. So do we agree with those terms? We're good with those terms?
Good with those.
Cool. Just letting you all know the point totals, because this will determine the order. This is not necessarily the order. This is how you will decide your place in the order. So whoever the first person is, they don't have to go first. They can go fourth and get that back to back. But Ingrid, you came in first last time with 149. Zach came in second with 144. Was one immunity away. Austin, you came in third with 76, and I came in last with 69. So,
Nice.
Thank you. So
Look, Zach, you've won before it was my turn.
So Ingrid, you will get to decide if you would like to go first, second, third, or fourth.
You know what? I'm gonna go first because I want to make sure that one of my first two in my heart ends up on my team.
Cool. Great. And then Zach, would you like to go second, third, or fourth?
I'm going to go second.
Austin, would you like to go third or fourth?
I'll go fourth.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to get the third
like
pick.
this?
Perfect.
I'll go
All right.
fourth. Either way,
I'll take the back.
Ingrid, you will be the first one up. We each
That
get,
was a last-minute decision. I was just going to go third.
We each
Just
get
reminded the moment.
Yeah,
We're each going to get 4 players. So Austin, just so you know, I think that means I think you'll get Ingrid will have the very last pick of the draft, I believe, is how
She'll get the
Well,
leftovers.
It's gonna be okay.
Yes. So you're going forth is not bad because you're getting like the last 2 of the last 5.
Yeah.
All right, Ingrid, who is going to be your number 1 pick on this?
Okay, so I said this before we started, but I have like a head first pick and a heart first pick, and I was struggling with which one I wanted to go with because initially I was like, well, my head first pick, I don't think he's coming back to me, but my heart first pick might. And then I was listening to people talk and I was like, I don't think that's what I think. So my soul will fall apart if my heart pick is not on my team, regardless of how they do. So I'm going to pick them first and I'm going to pick Eva because sorry, Zach, you made me realize I needed to grab her. For personal reasons, her story is very important to me. And I'm very thankful for the representation on the show. I am really, really hoping and praying that her relationship with Joe helps her out. Especially in this like weird part here where she's being targeted. But like, I think she's very strong. I think that she has the ability to, do well in these challenges and get points in that regard. I think she is somebody that the show is going to want to showcase.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that she'll hopefully be getting me a lot of points, and I am hoping and praying that she's here as long as possible. And I picked the winner 3 years in a row. So if I don't pick her this time, I'll be okay.
All right. That's good sign for Eva because you have winner picks on your tribe all the time. Yeah, I like that pick. It was in my top 5, I would say. That tribe is just so stacked that I think this tribe is going to go early in the draft altogether. At least 5 of them will. But I'm really happy. I'm very happy that you picked her first. I love the sentimental pick. Yeah, and I think she's long for the season. I don't think she's going to get sniped out first by Star. I just don't see that happening. Austin or Zach, any thoughts on Eva before we move on?
Sorry, Zach. Love you.
I feel like I've given almost all of my feelings on everyone already, so I don't feel like I'm gonna have much to
primer, so we could just kind of fly through this. Exactly.
Shout out to Nina Randazzo. Thanks for seeing me at Starbucks today and telling me to pick Eva first. It didn't work.
Sorry, my sister cursed you. Well, who are you gonna pick, Zach? You have the next pick.
I'm just so sad.
Maybe you can find my brain pick and take it away.
Even looking at my draft, I don't necessarily think I have a prime idea of what I want. I am gonna pick who I had first because Dylan, I agree with you. I think this tribe is gonna go pretty quickly. I think it's gonna be really hard for them to not get picked, kind of one right after the other. Mainly because if they are giving so much if they're giving us so much content about them and they haven't even gone to a tribal council yet, I gotta imagine that some of the main characters from this show from this season are on this tribe. And while I would love to pick Joe, and I think that he's a great pick because he's with Eva, I am gonna pick the person who I actually think probably still screams winner to me based on the way that his edit is going. And I'm going to pick Thomas first.
Cool.
I'm gonna
Look at
fix
his face. He
Yeah.
wasn't ready.
My face?
No, my face.
Austin's.
Oh, okay.
Austin
No,
was like-
I think it's a great pick. I was between three guys, and you narrowed down one of them.
Great.
He was my preseason winner pick, so like obviously I'm gonna root for him. I hope he does well. I hope he wins. Not for your fantasy team's sake, Zach, but for my sake, of getting back on that wagon of getting all these right. But yeah, I think he has the highest ceiling, lowest floor in a way. Like I think he's much more vulnerable right now than Joe and Shaheen. But I also could see once you get to emerge, he's then able to skate by longer than Joe and Shaheen. So it's one of those things where, the risk right now is that he comes across a little too villainous. Shaheen doesn't trust him, goes early. But I like Thomas. I think he's great. I think he's going to get a lot of confessionals. I think he's going to hopefully pull out some more challenge wins, even if it's not individually, but with a tribe. I think he's going to be in our season for a while, but he was my winner pick, so who knows? We saw how it went with TK last year. Austin, Ingrid, any last thoughts on Thomas?
He's doing better than TK already, so
Well,
we're good.
Right. I like Thomas a lot. I don't know. I feel like there was, for me, his whole idea of just lose the idol clue kind of felt like it was painted in not like the most positive light about him, which that's the only concern I have for him, is that he maybe eventually gets labeled as this big, like, cutthroat, snaky player, and maybe like that gets spread more and that becomes his downfall. But that's my only concern on him. Otherwise, I think it is a fantastic pick.
He's a messy, messy boy, and that makes me nervous. But I do like him a lot. I think as long as they can put him on our screens, they will. He definitely does have main character energy. So, but I am, like Austin said, I'm worried about that. Like, we saw the confessional where Shaheen's like, that made me nervous. I don't know if I like that, and I don't know who that is going to land on.
Yeah. The only plus for what Austin just said, though, the plus to that is that episode 2, Jess Chong was talking about how threatening and snake-like Kenzie was. And then Sean was talking, like, Sean's boot, it was all about Sifu, and like D was the big threat. So I think we sometimes see that these winners are called out early as being these like strategic, sneaky people.
Totally true.
Rachel, not as much though. Rachel was kind of more of the Mary, I guess, of the season, where she was on the outs of that first vote or whatever. So I'm up first. I'm up next with my first pick. But I'm happy. I'm gonna get the person I think I wanted anyway. Every time I do this, I always try to think like, who is gonna be the winner? And I picked Sierra last year at this point, even though I didn't like her. I was like, I think she's gonna win. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna pick her. But this year, I'm just gonna go with my heart. I want to go for someone I'm actually gonna root for, who's actually gonna do well, who's actually gonna like win challenges. I think they'll be in the game for a while, even if they're not in the final 3. They'll probably make the finale, I'd hope. So I'm picking Joe. Joe is my guy. Everyone knows I love Joe. He's my favorite player on the season so far.
Third pick.
I was between the 3 purple guys. Thomas is someone I wanted just because he was my winner pick preseason. The other one that we won't mention, I like, but is also kind of the narrator, so I'm a little worried maybe they're not.
There's only one guy left on purple.
Right, but him, he is a narrator to where I'm worried that he's going to be like the Aubrey or even like a late cut. But Joe is someone who
you can say teeny.
No, but I do really like Joe. I'm very happy to have him, and I do think I'm not losing him before the merge, which cannot be said about Rome and Annika on my tribe last year. So I'm very happy. Any thoughts on Joe, everyone? I mean, we've kind of.
I was taking him if I would have taken third pick.
Joe was my brain pick when I was talking about a brain pick and a heart pick. Like Joe, in my mind, Joe is in the best position on that tribe, and it's not close. Everybody's coming to him. Everybody wants to work with him. He is calling the
Sorry,
shots.
Austin. I see your face.
Even when people like, but the thing is, he's calling the shots, but nobody's talking about the fact that he's calling the shots. And I think that that's so important. And I do kind of see like almost like a Final Four losing fire potential storyline.
The firefighter losing fire.
Maybe.
Possible. They put them out. They don't make them.
Right.
But
Jonathan lost fire. I mean,
I could see him like laying his life down on the line for Eva in like a Final Four situation, and like being like, "I'll take on the big guy," or
like a Tony Sarah thing.
Yeah, like a Tony Sarah, or even like tells the immunity winner, like, "Hey, take Eva. I'm willing to go try to get against our common enemy," and then he loses. kind of a thing. Like that's just kind of like the fantasy going on in my mind right now. Obviously,
Yeah.
like if it was at the end, I would be so happy. But like,
And in
yeah.
the
And
intro,
my
he's,
kids
he's the one
love
making
it.
fire.
So if he
in the
goes
intro.
early, there'll be problems with my kids.
Um,
Charity and Joe were there too.
Zach, any last thoughts on Joe before we move on to Austin's first pick?
It's of course a great pick. I just didn't. I have this feeling that I just have this like pit in my stomach that Joe is going to be an early boot for the sake of don't take Eva, take me, and I think that I just see him going. I see him going earlier than we want, and maybe like a little later than he expected. So like some sort of like middle ground of
7th, 8th place, maybe.
Yeah, like I think he
could go on an immunity run though. Potentially.
Oh yeah, he could absolutely go on an immunity
Except
run.
Ingrid, David's gonna beat the record. Didn't you hear?
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so dumb.
Well,
but I think it's a
Austin,
great pick.
who's gonna be your first pick, Austin?
All right, first
You
pick
guys feel-
Shaheen.
Okay,
Easy.
That's the easy one. Shaheen's
Yeah.
the easy one. It's the other one that I have no clue what I'm doing right
Okay.
now.
You want to think a little bit while we talk
I
about
was hoping
Shaheen?
you were just going to shock us and not take Joe or Shaheen, and I'd just be like, all right, give me a vote, then move on.
No. I think we picked the 4 safest people on the best tribe. So
Yeah.
like,
That was the right call, and we did the right things.
Yeah,
do you take Bianca or Star? That's a question.
I don't. I just don't know who it is yet. But I'll let everyone talk about Shaheen in a second while I do this. Shout out to friend McKenna Schulte. Shaheen, I know, is her winner pick going into the season. But I've also really enjoyed Shaheen. I liked him a lot in the preseason. I think he's a fun character, and yeah, he gets a lot of content too.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm a big fan too.
talk about Shaheen while I stare at the list of people over here to
Zach,
figure out who else I'm
Zach,
picking.
talk about Shaheen.
It was a good pick. I don't really know how to help you, Austin, because we already said everything. I think my outlook on the narrators has very clearly been shaped by the fact that like Teenie, I had such a good feeling about Teenie last season, and they were the narrator and they were a central focal point for so long. And they just came up short, and they also became sort of this like invisible player. I will say, I think the cool thing about Shaheen is that like he is clearly more observant than Teenie was. Like Teenie like sort of knew what was going on, but Shaheen really does. I mean, he's coming after my boy Thomas. But the thing is, I once again think that there's no problem because they're not going to tribal for a while, unless
And
there's
it's not even
themselves. Like he's not going to be the one in trouble. Like he's not going anywhere.
And it's not even like he's targeting him necessarily. It's just more like, oh, I don't know if I like that. But like, they're still California girls, you know. So, yeah. Ingrid, anything else to say about Shaheen to stall?
Shaheen kind of gives me Omer vibes in the terms of like he's kind of like the like. I guess with Omer's tribe, there wasn't like a third guy really because Jackson went home like immediately. But like, I feel like there's like the people in front, and then there's like this other guy that's like also very strategic and also very like smart and capable and all these things. But like he's kind of behind other people, and so he sneakily gets around. And then like we get to like a final 8-7-6, and people were like, "Oh shit, Shaheen's gonna win." Like I kind of see that kind of trajectory for him potentially, but I also like I don't want to say he's super high variance, but like part of me is also a little bit worried about him if something were to happen to this tribe, just because he doesn't have like a clear duo connection the way that the
Star, if anyone.
But he has that protection also within that California Girls, assuming that is the driving alliance within all of it.
Well, and what you said about him being a threat,
way.
What you said about him being a threat at the end also applies to Thomas and Joe too, to where I think their best bet is to go to the end together, Dominic and Wendell, because I really do think that best chance of winning is against one another. And then at the end, try to cut people off. Like maybe go to the end with each of them having a duo. It's the cookout thing, or the brigade thing of like, you know, bring your person, cut your person at the very end, and then we're the final three. Shout out brigade. All right, Austin, we've stalled long enough. You have to let us know your next pick.
Come on.
The next pick.
Oh,
I had it because I even sat here and I was nice and confident.
And I was like, oh, but I feel like they had like hardly any like confessionals this past episode, which didn't make me feel great. But again, they're not the focal tribe. I'm going to orange for sure.
Okay.
I'm going to orange now. I'm torn between two. I feel like it's obvious as soon as you say you're going to orange. There's an obvious two. I feel like. Give me Camilla.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
God, don't.
I love Camilla. Talk about Camilla. Awesome.
It was a toss up between her and Kyle. It was.
Well, I'm taking Kyle next, so I'll just.
Yeah,
tell
I
you
figured.
Now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just I think she's so good. Like, I think she's going to be so sneaky, and people aren't going to really see that she's being sneaky. Whereas like when I just talked about Thomas a little bit, like he tried to be sneaky, and immediately Shaheen was like, that's a little sneaky.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Camilla's been sneaky already, and it's like, my only downside of Camilla, just in terms of this past episode, is the big content we got about Orange was this humble trait thing, and Camilla wasn't involved. And I don't know if I should be reading into that or not.
Because she's perfect.
That's how we're gonna.
But she
That's
did get a
how
lot
my
of
team's
focus.
gonna believe it is.
She did also get a lot of focus though on the cipher because she's the one who deciphered the clue, and like there was a whole big confessional about
We
like,
saw
oh, and then I
all
put
the
these
words in
letters,
the sky.
yeah, and I scratched it in my thigh. So I think, and she also got the holes thing with Kyle, so she's still getting personal content. Yeah.
So that's why I'm going with Camilla. I think she's sneaky. I think it's. I'm honestly like, if this season, like I've seen a lot on social media of like this season's gonna have a man winner. But I do think if this season's going to have a woman winner, it's either going to be Eva or Camilla.
I could see that. Yeah, she's definitely being set up really well, especially because her archetype is always the one who's like nagging everyone else on the tribe. Everyone wants the younger, annoying woman out first, like J. Maya or Annika or Venus. But like, I like how Camilla is like the one running that tribe, like the Navy, and like taking her bus. What did she say? And like running over Charity with it or something.
It up.
The only thing is that her confessionals are a little villainous, but that is also kind of fun. Like it's okay to have a sneakier winner. I definitely like her upside, and I'll talk about Kyle just because he's going to be my next pick too. But like I love their dynamic. I think if this is a season of duos, they are the one from Orange that we're really supposed to love. Obviously, Mitch and Charity have a duo, but it's more because like they're the two on the outs. Whereas this one, it's not circumstantial. They're highlighing it. And they not only have a
Chrissy duo now.
And they're not, well, she did ask him to do more pull-ups. She goes, do some more. But I do love how their relationship isn't just based on their likenesses, but also like they have a strategic relationship. He's like, here, figure this out. Okay, good. Here, take it, hide it. Like they feel like they're like running something, like almost like running the mafia together. But I like them both. So I'm taking Kyle. I'm happy with that. I would have been happy with either, but I did slightly want Kyle more, even though Kyle's name is out there. Charity wants him gone, but I don't think that's
and
gonna
Kyle
happen.
had 10 confessionals in the first episode, so there's
getting those points. But yeah, Ingrid, thoughts on both Camilla and Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy both of them. I'm glad they're here. My fear with Camilla is kind of what you already said, but I'm gonna call it what it is and call it the like South Asian young woman curse of the new era, where like I feel like they pick these girls and they're all young, they're all like 90% South Asian, like, and they put them on this tribe that they normally don't mesh with for whatever reason, whether it's age, culture, gender, whatever. And they go home early because they're seen as this, that, or the other. So like, there's still like a little part of my heart that's like the tiniest bit nervous that could come to bite her. But I think of those women in her archetype, she is definitely the most secure this early on from any of them. And I trust her more socially than I do with them, where like, I think they all had great strategic minds and they all had like the like zest for the game, but like she has that ability to kind of mesh with her tribe more than the other ones do. So I do have hope for her at the same time. And I do think she's a good pick.
Cool. Zach, any thoughts on Kyle and Camilla, and then we can move on to your pick?
I'm not thinking about them. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do next.
Well, you're up. You're on the clock.
I go into hibernation until there's 5 people left now, so
That's true.
I'll have to scrape the barrel.
You get to wait a little.
Okay.
You're going to have all of green and then one of the players.
I know.
I know what I'm going to do. Okay, I don't have any thoughts on Kyle and Camilla because you said all of it. Man, like a beacon of light, honestly, because I can't believe I didn't really think about it until I was like, and I think that this will be great for that person's strategy. Because I really, for a moment, was like, I don't know where to go because I'm looking at a confessional account. I'm looking at sort of things are going. And I can't believe I forgot about this person because we talked about them earlier. But Dylan, you talked explicitly about how this person was just like out in the open for a second and then completely disappeared. And no one was like, all right, well, we got to target Cedric. And so I'm going to take Cedric as my next pick. I think that Cedric's a pretty solid pick going on. He is not my like winner pick to win. He's not my current winner pick, but I think that just looking at sort of the way that things are outlined, especially on green, I think that Cedric, when it comes to something like a Cedric and say, I thought about taking the person who got 21 confessionals in their first episode, but the thing about that is that like, yeah, I'll get 28 confessional points right now, but I don't think stays long for the course. Sorry, I know we're not supposed to say names, but
no, you can. It's fine.
But I think that Cedric is honestly probably someone who I was not super high on in preseason. I thought that it was going to be a little weird, but this episode sort of has changed my tune about Cedric. I think that there's a lot of merit to the kind of, I know that when someone wants to emulate a winner, and especially someone like Surree's game, it's a little bit of a like, ooh, especially we feel that way in Big Brother. I know, but Survivor's not the same as Big Brother because people really only ever want to play one type of game. They want to play the Derek, they want to play the Dan, they want to play the Dr. Will, they want to play the Taylor Hale. Like they want to do that kind of game. Whereas with Survivor, you have to meld the different people's kind of gameplays to what you do. Yeah. So I think the idea that Cedric wants to emulate Surree's game but not copy it is a really, really cool thought and feeling. And I just thought the fact that he was able to get by and not have to worry about being kind of like the collateral damage was pretty good. I thought about taking a different green. I didn't. We'll see if that bites me in the ass. There you go.
I like it. I think of all the greens, like I said, I like Cedric's game the most. I think he's fitting right in the middle without dictating too much of the strategy, but being a good enough voice to where he's not a goat. But Austin did say he is the weakest guy on that tribe. So if they keep losing, they could just cut the weight. But I also I don't know. I feel like his relationship with Say is the duo there. Because I thought it was Justin and Kevin, but it's really Say and Cedric. If there is a duo, if there's
could
a
even be Cedric and Justin, honestly,
it could, and in that case, that's great too. Because preseason they were looking at each other as like trust people, but then Justin was like kind of working with Kevin. But yeah, I'm happy about Cedric going this early. What about you guys, Austin, Ingrid? What do you think?
You go first because I'm picking.
I wasn't gonna pick him, so I'm fine with him being taken.
I wasn't gonna pick him.
Picking.
It's always good when someone takes someone that you didn't have interest in. So like I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Picking a green player is so scary, right? Because
you don't know which one's gonna go in the next episode.
We literally any of them could go, and we have no idea.
But the three that survive could be in your final six. You know
absolutely.
what I mean?
Exactly.
It could be a Tika 3. It could be an Emily Flippin situation where one of them goes really far, and it's just a matter of which one. I like Cedric. I think he is very high variance for the reasons we've talked about already.
Yeah.
I think that he has a great mind. I think he has great social relationships, but he also lacks severely in challenges, and that we don't know.
Yeah. Right. Get him to the merge though, and he's not going to be a threat.
If he gets to the merge,
I don't see him making the merge. Knock on wood. I can't wait for this stupid soundbite that Dylan's going to pull when I say that. And
wait, you don't think he's making the merge, and you drafted him?
I said I can't see him not making the merge, and then I said I can't wait for you to pull that soundbite
when he's the next.
He goes home.
Here's the thing. He was the bottom of my. He was the bottom of my power rankings because I thought he was going to be the one on green that they took out to get out Say's idol, flush it. But now that Say's idol's not in play, there's no reason to go after Cedric unless it's purely on strength. So like he's going to be high up in my power rankings. Actually no, because I'm putting all four green at the bottom, but he's going to be the highest of green. So there's that. Ingrid, you are up next.
Yeah. So I just said that picking someone from green is really risky, but I'm going to do it too, and I'm going to pick Justin. Because I think my personal opinion is that he is like kind of the, I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. He's like the calm within the storm on this tribe. And like, I think he's going to be able to hide at a time where like there's nowhere to hide on this tribe. And I think that like nobody has said his name one time. And I think that that's a good sign, potentially, assuming that anybody from this tribe makes the merge. And I think he, of the people on that tribe, is most likely to be able to connect with people from other tribes if he's in a situation, in a merge or a swap, where he's like down in numbers. And so, yeah, I think that there's this like, I think he's kind of playing the game that Kevin wanted to play, where like he's pulling off that like
Dumb
I'm just
guy.
a pizza boy kind of vibe, but really he is smart and he is making these strategic decisions. And like, yes, there are other people moving with him, but he is part of that driving force. Like he flipped, he was part of that decision with Kevin. He was part of that decision with Steph. And I could see him being part of the decision with whoever goes next. So I'm hoping that he's here for a while because he's also better at challenges than Cedric. So I don't think he has that as big of a downside.
Yeah. I just think if Mary doesn't have an idol, I find it very hard to believe she would be able to do anything.
I love her so much, but I'm worried for her more than I am for him.
Yeah. It would need to be Justin convincing Cedric to flip on Say. And even in that point, Justin's the one flipping.
Yeah.
Justin's the one getting the flip to happen. Like no one's going after. I think Justin and Cedric dictate the next vote. I think it's gonna be Say and Mary. Unless Say and Mary team up, who knows? Like I think that's what's so fun about Green. Yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts on Justin? Anyone?
It was my next pick, Ingrid. It's a good guy.
All right. Well, Ingrid, you do get another pick right now. So
yeah. Okay. This is another pick that might be a little weird, but I have my reasons. I'm going back to Orange, and I'm picking Mitch because I think Mitch is. I make him angry. The show loves Mitch.
I didn't think I was getting Mitch anyway.
we talked about this earlier. The show loves Mitch. They're going to show him as often as they can for as long as they can. I'm hoping that's a long time because I love Mitch. And we saw, he ate down in that challenge. So he could keep Orange out of tribal, or if they lose, there's a world where Charity goes first and he can integrate in a different way, or, something crazy happens and somebody else goes. But I think that I don't think Mitch is winning the game, because I don't think they'll let him get there.
Yeah.
But I think that he is here. Like, as long as he's here, they're going to show him, and I'm hoping that he'll be here for a while. And I even think he could fare well on some individual challenges if he gets to that portion.
Agreed.
So
he reminds me of Ty. Like he could play a very late game, win a few challenges that no one like. He could be an endurance comp winner, and that's like his moment. The only thing that I'm worried about is that he is on the outs. He has an advantage that is known, and I'm worried if they do lose. I think honestly, between him and Charity, it might be safer to get Mitch now while you can. But
there could be one where he blocks somebody's vote in that majority, and that helps him and Charity both stay. I don't know.
True. Yeah, but I do worry a little bit for him in the short term, but it's similar to Thomas where like he's in danger on his tribe, but if you make it to the merge, I could see people trying to scoop him up as a number because I sincerely believe I wonder if they all think he's going to be an easy beat or like we can't let him get anywhere close to final tribal because I could also see a world where they
being an honorary California girl.
But I could also see him being like Ty, where they're like, no, he's not going to win it. He's not going to sell his case in the end. But at the same time, like, do you really want to risk going up against someone who has such a great story? Like, I don't know. But
my other thing with him, with Mitch, is I had it and it went away.
Zach, talk.
I thought it was a great pick. It's not too far off from my next pick.
Uh-oh. Is it your winner pick, Zach?
We'll see. We're not done yet with Mitch.
All right. Well, awesome.
Yeah. So the thing with Mitch, my thing, because you brought up would they take him out because of his advantage. The only thing there is I don't think Mitch knows he's on the outs.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Like
a little
I don't
scary.
think
Especially
Mitch
after his
was coming out,
challenge.
so I don't see why they would take out Mitch when right now it's so clear that Mitch is like, I'm going to use this for the tribe. So like if they got rid of Charity, I feel like they would loop Mitch in. Like I don't think like Mitch and Charity are like friends, but I don't think Mitch is like, I'm not going to get rid of Charity. Like I don't think that
that's
is
the vibe I
type
did
of
get.
relationship.
I love Mitch.
Yeah.
Like everybody's talking about much.
So I think if Charity, I think if Orange were to go tribal and it is a Charity vote, I think they would be able to loop Mitch in. I don't think they're going to leave Mitch out of it. And then at that point, like I don't see why they would feel Mitch would think he's on the outside. And then if they do lose, then they just get rid of Mitch.
Yeah, that's cool. That's true. I say cool and true at the same time. I say that's cool. All right, Zach. we stole long enough. Who's your pick?
I'm going off of vibes this year. I don't care. I'm just going off of what I want and what I think is right. And I also just have two guys, and I don't think that we're living in an era where we can just automatically assume we're seeing a male winner.
Well, there's only one guy left to pick, so
correct. So I'm gonna pick a not a guy, but of who's left. I'll be honest. If I'm looking at everyone, I'm trying to figure out who's going to be here longer and who actually do I think has like the ability to stick around and like do well. And I think that if Charity makes it through, she has the potential to do well. So I'm gonna pick her because if I pick her, I'm forcing her to do well. And not for nothing, I had Genevieve this late in the game last season, and
you had her even later in the game. She was.
I know.
She was the draft.
So I think she was the last pick of the draft, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because at this point she had 0 confessionals. Or
I literally was sitting here like, who the fuck is Genevieve?
Then the next episode, she became my favorite player of the new
era.
And
they said, Diva, just
and then I said in the chat, who the fuck is Genevieve?
I think that, again, I don't think Siva is in, like, any immediate danger. I think shouldn't say that. I think that it's going to be, it's all going to depend on how this next episode goes, because if we don't see Siva go to tribal and we see Vula go to tribal, it's going to determine the trajectory of the next couple of episodes. So, like, if Siva doesn't go to tribal, I am not nervous about anything. Great. Like, we're going to be okay. I think we'll probably find some sort of a swap because they're not going to decimate Vula, hopefully. I don't know. Which does mean that Charity will probably actually be in a good spot, depending on who she ends up on a tribe with. If they lose, it's sort of like I picked a glass cannon, is what I'm really trying to say. Is that I'm picking the glass cannon. What I would love to see happen is like, ooh, a swap, and Mitch and Charity actually end up together. And because they end up together, he is going to protect her with his vote blocker, and they are going to take out a threat together or something to that effect. I don't know. I just love her. She's my winner pick. I have Dylan's winner pick and my winner pick. They can't both be the best of both worlds. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if she wins, I mean, you're going to be glad you took her. That was my biggest thing is like, yeah, like the year I picked Kenzie to win, I didn't get her on my team. Ingrid did, but I was like, oh man, that's like my winner pick. I wish I had picked her, but I think we all wanted her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not the highest on Charity. I still have yet to see what everyone sees in her so far, but I'm hoping she proves me wrong because I always like rooting for the underdog. But any other thoughts?
I agree with you.
Austin or Ingrid? Yeah,
that's really it.
I really like Charity. I'm sad that she is on the outs so quickly. I don't really know what she could have done differently, though.
Not throw Kyle's name.
Okay, but like she didn't know.
No one needed to throw a name on that tribe so early. I think that's her biggest issue.
But Camilla literally was like, "What do we do if we lose?"
Right. Yeah, she was like almost leading it. Yeah.
And Charity was like, "Well, I don't know," and she's like, because I don't know if we're gonna lose." She's like, "But what if we do?" So like, what was she gonna do? Say nothing?
I don't know.
Like,
I need to watch that scene again. So
I've watched this episode a lot. But like, yeah, I'm sad that she's in this predicament because I really like her. My kids really like her, so I need her to stick around for a little bit.
You know, the last time we had a survivor with a janky toe.
Right.
That's about it in episode 2.
That's right. Well, you know what?
That's exactly what Zach got there.
This is gonna get another segue that transitions to my next pick. Honestly, there's 3 people I'd be very happy with getting on my team. If I can get 2 of the 3, I'll be happy. It's more about like which ones do I think Austin could pick. So I think this is the one that is most likely of my 3, one that Austin would pick. So I'm gonna take it first. And crazy toe, but what about a crazy belly button? I'm gonna go with Chrissy. I really like Chrissy. She reminds me of like Sue Hawk, but like with the personality of like the more mom figure of the tribe. I don't think she's going to be as cutthroat as like even Julie Mama J was, but she's going to fill that archetype. I feel like she's going to be like the right hand man to whatever that power alliance that kind of takes over the merge is. I don't see her being the person they all go for when you get to a merge either. Like I don't see the world where you target her unless she ends up being a real power player. I don't think she's going to win. But if we are going to have a Sue this season, I could see her being that one, not necessarily as much of a GOAT as Sue was, even though I would argue she played a really good game, which we've already been over. But I do think, she's someone that I would always imagine will be roped into whatever plan happens because people just like her. And she's not as strong a personality as like Tiffany from 41, where like, oh, got to get her out. She's a threat. So I think she's really looking like she could be one of our finalists. But I don't know. I mean, it's still so early, but I really like Chrissy. I love that she's a fire person. I love how I have Joe and Chrissy, the 2 firefighters, because every time we see 2 firefighters, Keith and Jeremy, they both did very well on Cambodia. So 1st and 4th place. Maybe I'm looking at 1st and 4th place right here, Joe and Chrissy. I don't know. But I'm happy. I like Chrissy. Was that on your radar, Austin?
Maybe there was one that I was hoping you didn't take, and then the rest I'm very like.
All right. Well, I'm worried now that I let one of my. But as long as I get one of the other 2, if you take both the other people I want, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But we'll see.
I don't know if that's what I'm gonna do. I only know one so far.
Ingrid, any thoughts on Chrissy that we haven't said?
I mean, I think that. I don't know. Like she to me is like one of the biggest question marks right now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like she's not getting a ton of content. She's not getting no content, which is good. Nobody's getting no content.
Yeah. And she got a match chat.
She got a match chat, so like that could be something. But I also feel like we haven't been shown who she's truly aligned with or who's truly aligned with her. And that is interesting to me because like I feel like we don't have really any idea. Like, yes, she's in this like 4 supposedly, but also, will that 4 stick at a time tribal council? We don't know.
Right.
And we haven't really been shown like any of her individual relationships, so I'm a little worried about her for that reason. But because she's not like the apparent first targets, I'm also not that worried because I think she could make it to the merge, and if she makes it to the merge, I think she's fine.
Yeah, and this could be like if you're looking at like old school Survivor, or even like middle school, like those seasons like Redemption Island, South Pacific, where like you're the Rick Nelson, where you're like in the majority.
Yeah, exactly. Very
you're just kind of there with the group, and then like eventually you're taken out. But we rarely see Pagongings these days. But if we do see something similar to that, she could just be like one of those people that's just
she feels like somebody who's along for the ride, and
which
that
is fine.
Makes me sad because there's a lot of people that are not just along for the ride that I think are in a lot more danger.
Right.
That's always though, isn't it? Like that is the case. Your people who you don't want to just be kind of like along for the ride and stick it out are the ones who usually end up playing harder and going home sooner. You know, Dylan loves himself some snoo.
Yeah.
That's sort of what I mean. That's Sue, Heather. That's we see it more often than we don't. So I think it's just hard to tell how the chips are going to fall. Yeah. So
she's going to be the season's
Heather than a Mama J.
Yeah, she's going to be the season's Twyla, and we're all going to be like, "Whoa!" All right, Austin.
I wasn't not picking Chrissy. I just don't know if I was.
Right. Okay. Who is your definite
my definite? I did not necessarily. This was someone that I was thinking of taking instead of Camilla, but I said they might fall. They might let me pick this one up in the 5 spot. I'm taking Say.
Okay.
I'm taking Say. I don't think that Say is not necessarily going to have some longevity here. I think one of the things with Survivor editing is Jeff likes to really we get this like theme of the season from Jeff in the match chat.
Zach is fully not on board with you.
I know he's not going to be.
I'm not either.
we get this theme of the season from Jeff on the match chats, and
one of the things he kept leaning into in that chat, and it may have just been to foreshadow what was going to happen at the end of the first episode, but it may be an overarching thing for the season. And it was that whole idea of, are you going to attack the game or are you going to let it pass you by? And if that is a theme of a story that we are getting for this season, there's nobody attacking the game more than Say is right now.
Mm-hmm.
She already I'm already going to get a ton of points from her for her finding the idol, playing the idol, negating the idol, 20 confessionals since you just bumped that up to 2 points per 10. Like, it's a ton of points right up front for me. And if she does happen to go while still on Vula, I'm not going to lose that many points.
Like, she'll only get 2 or 3 votes to her.
She'll only get 2 or 3 votes. So, like, I may not get a ton of points, but she already has banked a ton of points. So it's not necessarily going to be a bad thing either way. But like, yeah, I think there's a chance we're stuck with Say for a while, guys. She's got a lot of talking to go on Twitter, and I can't imagine she's going to go out 3rd or 4th episode with all the shit she's talking.
My only thing,
that's a whole different person.
The only thing though is that, like, I feel like if this is a character you're gonna have in your finale, are you really gonna exhaust? Because some audience members are already exhausted by her.
That's true.
They're clearly making her out to be an antagonist for the
crap out of her.
For the normies, I would say. But I could definitely see her making the merge at least. Like I could see her. I'm trying to think of like who I could even compare her to, like who had a big edit, and then like the merge just like fizzled out early. Maybe like Chris Noble also, or even like even Evie, who's not like a controversial figure on their season, but like, you know, big personality in the pre-merge, flames out early merge. I don't know. I think there's a lot of longevity though, because like I'm just being realistic. I don't think she's the next boot. I don't. No. Like I think she's too big a character, and I do see a world where she keeps finding idols, and maybe she's the modern day Russell Hantz. Who knows? Just with a little bit more heart.
I think there's just so much potential there that like I couldn't justify picking 2 of these people left over her.
Yeah, and she's making. I mean, she made that move against Kevin. That was her move.
Yeah.
So Cedric tipped her off, but she ran with it. So
yeah.
Zach, you didn't seem very happy with this. Is it because you wanted her, or you don't think Austin?
I just think it's a little crazy. 28 confessionals in 2 episodes is a very high count. Austin, Ronald, Scott, Wilson. That is.
Is she Banu?
All 4 names came out for that. Almost. If you multiply your 4 names times 7, it's the amount of confessionals that Say got in her first.
She got more in one episode than Natalie White, winner of Survivor season 19, got in her entire season.
Yeah,
so
that's diabolical.
I think I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I wasn't going to try, like I wouldn't have picked her if she had been left at the end. What I will say is that I don't necessarily. I would have picked her for the bounty that she already comes with. Like that, I think is a viable strategy as we pick a fantasy team. I don't know if her longevity is nearly as good as you may think it is. I think from like a standpoint of watching, I like Say a lot because I am not tired of her. I think her, we talked a lot about like her character and just like who she is as a person. I think she's one of the most interesting characters on the season. And I like the fact that she's on the season because I think that she provides so much depth to what we're watching. From a standpoint of a fantasy team, she would never have been my first pick, solely off because the person who I think of the most in regards to something like that from the modern era of Survivor when I started watching, and I think it's because I said it on this channel, I loved watching JD, and I think one of the things I said about JD in 41 was literally like, wow, he gets so much time on the...
JD's like, actually a really good comparison.
Dylan was like, and I was like, I think that's great. Like,
yeah, but also who got a lot of content that early was Shan, and Shan went on.
Right.
For a while.
Yeah. So I think JD is a really good comparison.
Decide who I'm picking second.
Yeah, you
well, I'm going to talk about Say for a second while he does that.
Say.
I am tired of Say. It's me. I'm tired of Say. I mean, if she stays, I'm not going to like throw a tantrum, but I'm. It's old for me. And I think part of it is just how much they're showing her all the time. Like we hear what she thinks about literally everything, and I'm like, girl, I didn't ask. Like. But I think JD is a really good comparison. That kind of like youthful energy, that like big personality, maybe not the best gameplay on this, green tribe that is falling apart. Where I think she could have longevity is if Cedric has any power at this next tribal council, and that duo rides into the sunset kind of a deal. That's where I think her longevity could come into play potentially. But to me, she's so high variance. And I think having this much exposure this early on, being unheard of, does not do her favors. Because like Jeff clearly loves her. I mean, like literally they sit down for that second tribal and he's like, say, where would you like to start? Like he clearly loves her. They clearly love her. So like, but with that said, I still don't think that if she was staying to the finale, they would give her 20 confessionals in the second episode.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that. It's super high variance. I think it goes your way.
I almost think the first chapter of the season may end with Say going out in the same way that the first chapter of last season was Rome. The chapter before that was Banu. It's like this big pre-merge character that like once they're gone, the next phase of the game.
And like Rome, I could see her being like a mergatory boot or a boot that is like makes it past this first stage but doesn't make the jury.
Yes.
The difference is that she has this relationship with Cedric. There's at least something there that is
there's somebody protecting her.
And that even can't be said for Justin and Mary, who are also on that tribe. I think like of all the tribes, if you're looking at the central duo, it's Kyle and Camilla, and then it's Cedric and Say, and then it's like probably Eva and Joe, or Thomas and Bianca, or Shaheen and Star, or the California Girls.
But even Cedric speaks about Say similarly to Joe speaking about Eva, not to the same passion necessarily, but he literally is like, I see my daughter in her, and
that might help her. Yeah.
That is tough to break. That is really tough to break. So I think in order for either one of them, like I think they are coming and going as a package. Like I think they are either both going early or they're both making the merge. I don't think there's a world where like Cedric and Mary have to, or not Cedric, Justin and Mary have to find a way to split them up or they're screwed on that tribe.
Yeah. It's like Evie and Tiffany in a way. All right, Austin, who's going to be your final pick of the draft?
He doesn't know yet.
I wonder what all the writing is. Is it like, are you taking notes?
I just was erasing the people as we were getting rid of them. Okay. So it's literally just the 4 names of the 4 people left.
Hurry up.
Yes, I know. I am not picking Star, and I am not picking Mary. So people can rejoice. Or
I will just tell you right now, the final 3 I was between is Chrissy and the 2 people you're with. So whoever you're not taking, I'm taking.
It's the debate between David, who, if he gets to the merge, which it seems like he will he also then pull off, like, not that I think he's going to break records. Like, I don't think he's going to break records in the comp wins, but I think he's going to win a couple. So it's like that idea of like, do I take him for those immunity points that like he's going to win while on Siva and he's going to win because he's not going to sit out. He's not going to let them sit him out. He's going to play in every single one of these challenges. And if Siva does keep winning, he's going to rack up points 2 by 2 by 2, and then potentially 5 by 5 by 5. Or do I take the more strategic one, who I think is Bianca, who like we haven't seen a lot, but we didn't see any of fucking Genevieve either, and then no one took her, and then you see where she ended up. And maybe it's the Genevieve effect. I'm taking Bianca.
Okay, that's who I would have preferred, but I'm fine with David. But yeah, go ahead, talk about Bianca.
I think that's that. I think I said what I said. I think it's. I don't know much about Bianca. She is the duo to who Zach think is going to do really well. So if Zach think is wrong, then my think might be right.
What language are you speaking?
I love the Bianca pick. She's a Jersey girl, so I wanted her on my team as like that rep for Jersey. As the rep for Jersey, I really wanted her, but I do agree she should go here. I do think being on that tribe, she's probably not going to see tribal in a long time, and even if she does, there's clearly one person who's more on the outs than her. And even when the time comes where everyone starts going after one another, the big dogs may fight each other before they go after their Eva and Bianca's. But yeah, she's just gives me Murgatory vibes. Just that's what's
She
preseason.
really
I am worried
does,
about her.
Yeah.
I'm worried about
But after a few episodes, like I don't know, I feel like she could be like the Jamie of the season, where she's very underedited, but still like when we hear from her, it's a very big personality. But I don't know. Zach, thoughts on Jersey Girl Bianca?
If big men swing, he might miss. No, I love Bianca. I wanted to pick Bianca a lot earlier. I honestly just don't see a world. I see a world where she sticks around because she is not the first threat, but I also see the minute because to play devil's advocate, I think the minute that Bianca gets to emerge, she may not be the first target in anyone's radar when it comes to the initial tribes, but she certainly should be if you're trying to weaken someone. And I would get rid of Bianca 1,000% if I'm trying to weaken any of those boys, because she may not be as loyal to anyone else as she is loyal to Thomas, but she certainly will vote for anyone except for a purple if given the opportunity. So I would get rid of Bianca first because she's probably going to coast GOAT to the end. And she is always going to be she's always going to be some sort of extra vote for the other people
He's
left
a
in the game.
soldier for sure.
Yeah. So I would get rid of her before I'd get rid of Thomas, Joe, or Shaheen, because they can't always win the challenge.
Yeah.
But they can always talk to Bianca. So I think that will be a common thread.
And you know what? I think your point just made me feel better about picking Bianca, because Zach, as someone who has played with you, I find you so incredibly good at these and so incredibly smart. But I think most people on Survivor are not as incredibly good and smart as you, and I don't think that they're gonna do what you would do.
They don't get to sit around at work all day and think about the stupid things that we all do. They're on, they're hungry, and I'm
Ingrid, any last thoughts on Bianca?
Yeah, Bianca is so Murgatory coded to me. I just think about the Murgatory that has come before her, and I feel like she has so many commonalities with a lot of those people. I think of like an Ellie, I think of like a Lydia, I think of like not really a Sydney, but like these people, but definitely like Lydia and Ellie were the first two that came to my mind where I was like, she kind of reminds me of them, not necessarily fully in personality, but in positioning in her tribe and in this like. I feel like a lot of times that the Murgatory,
Mariah too,
looking at Mariah, yeah, somebody that nobody's looking at usually ends up going home. Like, I feel like nobody's looking at initially, and then they're like, "Oh wait, but what about her?" And I feel like that happens a lot.
Unless you're Rome, yeah.
I don't know why so. Confused.
I genuinely, and I feel bad because I actually really liked her. I could not remember who Mariah was.
I love Mariah.
She can't jump, Austin. She can't jump.
Well, you said Mariah, and I immediately thought of like first boot Mariah
from 43,
like rainbow hair Mariah, and so I could not get it. I could not get another one in my brain.
No, Liz is twin. Liz is twin.
Mariah.
Yeah, but I think that like she is very that coded. So I just would be surprised if that isn't her fate. Just because I feel like she fits that archetype really well. But with the people that are left, like, I'm gonna get last pick, and he whispered, "Good luck with so and so" in my ear so far.
Well, so you're either getting Mary or you're getting
Star.
Who else is left? Star. Yeah.
Star.
So but I'm taking David because I do think he is someone that is gonna get confessionals. He's gonna be a character. He's gonna be the main character until he's gone. Like he is the main character on Orange, even though Mitch is like the more like, oh, Mitch and like Kyle and Camilla are running that tribe. David's the character. Like we remember David. And I don't know if I'm reading into it too much, but he seems like someone who's having a lot of fun at these Survivor events and these social media things. So like I think he does well enough. Like Zach and I both really thought he was going to be this shock pre-merge, almost like Garrett Adelstein, where like he goes out second or third, and everyone's like, "Whoa, how did that guy go out this early?" And it's like, "Oh, because he's such a dum-dum." But I really think he's winning over people on his tribe. People like him. No one has even said like, "Oh, this guy's annoying." The audience might, but I don't think he's even showing that to the players. I think he's just this goofy, doofy jock. To us, he's like, yeah, I'm the best player at this game. And we're all kind of like, okay. Like, my mom can't stand him. But like that's not who's voting. We're not
Right.
voting, even though we are voting, just not for these things. Which I'll have to ask you if Zach doesn't come back in time. I can ask you guys what you voted for the Survivor 50 twists. But
We did not vote for the same things. So
ooh, I'm interested to hear it. But let's talk about David. Any thoughts on David? I think he fell out actually pretty low. I thought he could have been a third rounder just because I think he's going to be a big character. But
yeah,
maybe we all just don't think he's going to win, and that's why.
yeah, I like him. Like I said, I was between, like, even before I picked Say, like I wasn't locked in on Say. I just eventually was like, and it really was. I know I talked about me thinking there's longevity, and that is maybe hopeful thinking. It really was like the bounty of points she already has. I felt like was a lot to pass up. But like I really was between David, Bianca, and Say, and it's for all the reasons you said. Like I don't really have much more to add. I think it's interesting that you said he's the main character on Orange, but I get where you're coming from in terms of like that word character.
The casual main character, yeah.
Yeah, because like I also like
not the
I
protagonist.
feel like Kyle is the main focus. I guess is a different.
He's like
word.
Kyle's the protagonist, but David is like the
sidekick,
the face. Yeah,
the face. Yeah, so I get where once you explained it more, I was on board with that idea. Yeah, I mean, I hated him in the preseason. Absolutely couldn't stand him. I did that thing I was talking about with my students with pick your favorite, least favorite. And I told my kids, I said, there's an obvious least favorite. Like I said, this should not be hard. And so about 20 of my kids agreed that David was their least favorite. Like, it wasn't unanimous, but like he got the majority of the least favorite votes too. So like, I've been absolutely pleasantly surprised with how much I have enjoyed him on the show. And now we have stalled enough.
Yes.
I
Ingrid, any thoughts on David? Yeah.
I like him a lot. And I think he has longevity. Like, I think he's a really good pick. But the only thing that I'm like a little concerned about is like how long until his like I'm amazing starts coming out of the tribe.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, because I think that right now is why they like him, is because he's not showing that side of himself.
Yeah, he's only showing his nipples. Yeah.
Right. He's only showing his 4 nipples, which is crazy, by the way. But like, I feel like that's the piece that we're seeing that they're not. And so like, I'm wondering if that's the kind of thing that like an emerge situation where he might feel more safe. He like starts to say things and then like, especially the women are like, nah, fam. Like something like that's my concern is like the hungrier he gets, the more comfortable he gets, like, will that slip out and will that affect his game in a negative way? That's literally like one of the only downsides to him, I feel like, other than the fact that like he gives off this vibe of like 8th or 7th place, like somebody that wins a lot, and then when they don't win, you take them out.
Yeah,
kind of.
I will say if he does beat that record, I'm winning this fantasy game. So I'm happy with that too, because I'm like, if it's foreshadowing,
he's definitely going to get you a lot of points. I think a good pick.
I mean, Bruce had the most points on 46. So I mean, that's or 45. Yeah, so I think that's telling that you can be the big buffoon and still be the best fantasy player. But all right, Zach, thoughts on David, and then you got to pick. Are you sticking Ingrid with Mary or Star?
Oh, Gaston, you're so good. I don't have anything else to add. I think Ingrid's got probably what I would call the best overall read is how long until it's not charming? How long until it's like, okay, that's enough. Like, we're good. And I think that especially is like, how long until you get to a place where, you're in a merge situation and the wrong thing slips out. It doesn't even need to be meant in a way that is condescending. As long as one person is there to misconstrue it, it will be misconstrued. And he gives that sort of like, well, maybe someone else should try winning for a change. Like, I can see that. And like, it's not in a way that is cocky.
Like he's joking, but like it comes out in a way that is,
I mean, listen, you put David. Hold on, I just want to make sure that I'm not stupid. Sometimes it's true. I just want to make sure. Okay, got it. Yeah, you put David and Say on the same tribe. Well, boy, can't wait. That's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Just got to make it though, Austin.
All right, Zach, who you picking though for your final pick? Who are you happy with to take here? Are you picking the star of the season, or are you taking Mary? I should have made a joke. I should have said, "Are you picking the star of the season, or are you picking the star?"
Ah!
Oh, man.
Don't word it like that.
This is hard. You know what, Ingrid? You said you loved her so much, so I'm going to leave her for you. I'm going to take Star.
There you
Uh,
go.
I don't really know who the right choice is. I think that Star probably has less, even though Star probably has less overall standing to stay if the tribe goes to tribal. I think that their tribe is just so well balanced that I don't think that they're going to be the ones who lose, knock on wood, in a situation where it is like them versus Siva. I think it ironically probably is Siva going, because even though they have a lot of beasts in that challenge, you can't sit out multiple times in a row. So there's only going to be so many times that the same people can play over and over and over again. I think Star performing in a challenge is also probably going to ruffle a couple of feathers, which is probably why I don't know. I can't get a good read. I do think that like Mary was the riskier choice, so I took Star to be safe.
Well, here's the thing.
I don't know.
I'll convince you why this is, I think, the better pick. No offense to Ingrid. She had the first pick, so she's still in a great spot. Sorry.
Right.
Okay.
But
you had the best first overall pick.
But here's the thing.
That was the right answer.
Star, if she cracks that code, she's got an idol.
Right.
Like, that's huge. Like, the fact that the other people have the information, but she can, she's seen a bunch of the letters. I think if she puts it together that like, oh, it's probably these letters, let me just try it myself. Like, she doesn't necessarily need them every step of the way. I wouldn't be surprised if next episode she just cracks it and then it ends up being a story in the merge. Also, she's on a tribe that's not losing unless they swap. And even if they swap, then she might still win.
Right,
so
then she's in actually a better position.
I think the star thing happens when there's either a swap and they lose, or she makes the merge and it's like she's already played the idol or whatever. But I really think, there's a good chance she's still getting that idol. But there's also a chance Mary gets an idol now too. So I think this is honestly not a bad last two picks. Like, honestly, I think Zach Charity is probably the one I had on the bottom of my draft board. But even then, it's your winner pick, so you got a repper. So like, I think everyone's picks here are pretty solid.
With the Mary Star thing, I first of all, there was that small part of me that wanted to pick Mary when I picked Say, but I could not risk having. I can't have two. I think having two Vula on your fantasy board is scary.
Ingrid, as she sits with
Dylan avoided them like the plague, made it really scary when all of the other rest of us picked one of them.
That was my strategy. Don't end up with Vula, and it worked.
Yeah.
Because I was worried it was going to be 4 Vula at the end. I'd have to pick one, and I would have picked Cedric.
There's a huge part of my heart that wanted Mary because I adore her so much. I cannot wait to see her run like a mad woman through the jungle in the next episode.
I'm so excited.
It's gonna be so good.
But yeah, I think we're right now, unless like something does like break for them with Star in particular with this thing, is I think they have the hardest Beware advantage, because like each one's different. Like Siva had the easiest one. Like the letters are just fucking there. They didn't have to like figure out like what the animal is and count the letters and all that. Say had to do.
This tribe's some dumbass.
But and I feel like the Say one was like the medium level one. This one with that diagram, like they don't realize that it's an L. Like they're struggling. They don't have
it's a V.
L.
Yeah.
They think it's a V or a U. Like those were the two like they didn't even mention it.
Different words.
They didn't even mention it as an L. So like I'm at the point right now. I'm like, they don't have the letters. Like, so I don't know how it's just gonna suddenly like click to them that it's this thing. And also, I still want to stand by my potential Thomas theory of like that clip that we see of Thomas and Bianca talking to Star isn't them actually working with her. It's Thomas's way of trying to lose the clue.
Yeah. I also think, are we thinking that the third word is what is it? A silent, because
It
one of
could
them's
be
listen,
silent.
one of them's enlist. I think
And
this
it's
one's
not inlets.
It could be
Austin.
inlets.
He keeps thinking it's going to be inlets.
There are 6 words that you can spell with those letters.
inlets. What's the other one?
Intels is another good one
Intel's
that it
is
could
the only
be.
other one you told me that I was like, it could be.
And if this was Big Brother Reindeer Games, it would be tinsel.
Tinsel. Yeah.
Yes.
maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Big Brother Reindeer Games, ruining friendships and then re-ruining them.
Ingrid, any last thoughts on Star? And then you talk about your pick, Mary. You're getting her
Yeah.
pick.
So Star, I feel like I've said everything about Star that I feel. I think that if the edit is correct, a lot of her troubles right now are her doing, which is concerning to me. And we also have that, like, they showed us the part where she introduces herself to Camilla on the sit-out bench. Why? And things like that. There's like,
That was so great.
So,
Why?
Well, like that was such a small moment. Like, why did they show it?
Yeah.
And things like that. What, like, they can show that, but they can't show Kevin's shoulder being popped back into place in episode 1.
Right?
So, like, I don't know.
Is that, yeah.
I'm just saying.
It's like Star, I feel like right now is the first boot of that tribe, but like we've said, that tribe isn't going anywhere. So like,
Right.
We don't know.
Yeah.
By the same token, if there are no Mary fans, I'm dead. I love this woman with every ounce of my soul. I'm so happy to have her, even if it's for a day. One thing that can be said about me is that I be picking the winner, but I also be picking the third boot. That's why I keep losing these drafts, is because I have Kenzie and Banu or Rachel and Aisha. That was the same season. Yeah. Like,
Hey, you won that one still, though.
I did, but that's because
Pull it
Rachel
up.
ate down. And it was close.
Yeah.
Hey,
But,
there's a
like-
very good chance you have it again. You know.
You do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I could have Eva and Mary. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, like Austin said, Mary could get an idol in this episode that could
Yeah.
change everything.
Right.
Which
Which
I'll wait
is
till you're done.
what I want to have happen, please.
Austin, do you think that's gonna happen?
So, Mary is having a watch party this week, and it has been highly speculated in social media verses that either means
She's
she
going
has a
home.
big moment or she's going home.
Yeah.
Which, for me personally, if I was ever on Survivor, I would never have a watch party on my boot episode.
On
No.
my episode, I am at home by myself.
I am eating ice cream. Like, I am not in the public eye on my boot episode. But it
That's a
has
very
been known
good
to
point.
happen.
Mhm.
And maybe it's just because she knew this was the episode where she's running like a mad woman through the woods too. Like,
Yeah.
it could be as simple as that, or it could be she finds an idol and she makes a big move against like a Say or a Cedric or a Justin, or like, and literally any of them would be a big move,
Yeah.
honestly.
Right, because she is on the bottom, and that's why she's
Well-
all the way down here.
And what I love about Mary is that she is the person who was on the outs of the first vote. Who else
Yeah.
was on the outs of the first vote on her tribe when Annika went home? Is Rachel. So I feel like that could be.
That was not the first vote of that tribe. John Lovett went home first
Doesn't matter.
Oh, that's a
on
good
that
point.
tribe.
Yeah, but like the
Doesn't
power
matter.
dynamic.
I'm just
and the
saying,
power-
I was
yeah, no, that's a
just
good
saying.
point. No, that is a very good point. But you know what I mean, though. Like, she was on the outs. Even the John Lovett vote, like, she still wasn't like running that vote.
No.
So I could see Mary being well. And here's the thing: Mary survived 2 votes now.
Yeah.
Where she's been on the bottom. So it is kind of like the Rachel thing. But I don't think Mary's winning. But I do think I have a feeling we
Get
might
that
not have
woman to
seen.
emerge, please.
Yeah, I feel like we may not have seen the end of Mary, but the only thing is, like, for my power rankings, I did, spoiler alert for Zach because he hasn't seen mine yet, but I did put her at the bottom only because, like, she is the one who goes home if she doesn't have an idol, and that 4
Right.
goes to tribal. So I don't know. Zach, any last thoughts on Mary?
Good luck, Ingrid.
Thanks.
So
I think
there we
she's at
go.
the bottom of Zach's power rankings too.
We-
I'm smiling with my third boot because
We
I
have
love-
I'm gonna post those Wednesday mornings. So once I get Zach's video, I'll edit it together. I'll post it Wednesday morning, so you will all be able to see that this is coming out Tuesday. But let me rattle off our fantasy players one more time, and then I will give an update whenever we get together next on what points we already have. I am assuming Austin will probably be in the lead because Say had an idol and played it or whatever. And
Right.
but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe not.
Has enough confessionals to get her through the whole season. So
Right. But Ingrid's team is Eva, Justin, Mitch, and Mary. Zach, your team is Thomas, Cedric, Charity, and Star. My team is Joe, Kyle, Chrissy, and David. And Austin, your team is Shaheen, Camilla, Say, and Bianca. So I honestly don't know
who the most.
I don't know though. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
This season, what I love about the season is like we truly have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's
Even last year we kind of knew.
for rankings, but it's really fun as a viewer.
Yeah,
It is
even last year we were like, okay, Sam's going far, Teeny's going far.
Yeah.
You know, I had Caroline going far, but you know, even then
Kinda did,
kind of
okay.
far.
she does. No, I know, but like I called that, but everyone else I did not. So we'll see.
Yeah.
She deserves more. She deserves better.
But Austin and Ingrid, thank you so much for doing this. This is so much fun to have you on.
This is our
We're gonna
favorite
try to.
season.
Oh yeah, we're gonna try to have you on at least, definitely to cover the end of the season like we did last time and look at the fantasy teams, but hopefully one more time before then. Zach and I might try out some other guests as well, just to have, because next season Zach is going to be doing this by himself with guests. I'm sure Austin and Ingrid. I'm sure Austin and Ingrid will be frequent guests for that. But for this season, I'm still here, still talking. The only thing I might miss is the finale itself. So maybe I won't be here with Austin and Ingrid to talk about it, because that's when I'm setting sail. But hopefully. We'll be here for the rest of 48. And as always, Zach and I are going to be doing our power rankings on TikTok. Ingrid and Austin, anything left to, any words to depart to the audience before you go?
Nope.
Thanks for having us as usual.
Yeah, thanks for being on. It's always a pleasure.
I like
Thank
to talk. You can have me whenever you want, and I'll talk
Love
about
that.
whatever you ask me to.
you. Zach, anything else from you?
No, it's always good to have Austin and Ingrid on. Dylan, enjoy the mystery place wherever you are. Who knows?
Even though I said it at the beginning of the episode, but
if
You're
hopefully
in
you
the
missed
Bermuda
that.
Triangle. It's fine.
It could be Ontario. Who knows? It also could just be New York City.
Which is funny because
none of you know.
Because the town I'm in is part of Ontario. Ontario is like it's like saying Brooklyn, New York. It is, Brooklyn is New York.
So why did you give it away?
Sorry. I'm in Brooklyn. No.
You're in Brooklyn. You're in Brooklyn.
Speaking of Brooklyn for Amazing Race. I'm kidding. Anyway, recipe for reality, real quick. Zach, who had the recipe for reality this week?
I would give away who has the recipe for reality, but you're gonna have to wait to find out what the Dill Pickle Movie Network Traders entire season is like when it comes out. So that's who would be getting.
Don't pay attention to either of us on that.
Players
There.
in that would be getting my recipe for reality, period, bar none.
That'll be airing this summer, so they have a long time to wait. But
And
we're not a part of that.
Enjoy.
about it until then.
All right. Austin, who had the recipe for reality this week? Who had
Danielle Reyes.
Yes. I love that.
You're gonna get me mad.
Danielle
over
Reyes at all times. Danielle Reyes always has the recipe for reality.
He's
I
gonna
love
get
it.
me
I
mad.
agree.
And
over
Brittany
it.
Haynes. Danielle Reyes and Brittany Haynes. That's
Yes.
I agree.
I'll shout out Gabby Wendy too, because of all the faithful. She's the only
Gabby.
one who actually. had
Dylan
it.
Efron too. I will give it to Dylan. I love him.
Gabby
Okay.
Wendy. Gabby Wendy.
Yeah,
Oh
except
my
he was a
God.
little baby when Brittany called him out. But
The dog chopstick.
Ingrid, who's getting your recipe for reality?
I'm not gonna pick a Traders player. This one's gonna hurt me a little bit, but I think it's true.
Say.
Gonna give it to Say.
Wow.
That's great. I'll give it to Mitch. I thought
Almost single-handedly.
Mitch is a good choice,
Mitch
too.
was the
Also
other
good
option in my
choice.
mind. So if I want to give it to somebody that I prefer, I would give it to Mitch.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to give one final trader shout out because
go ahead.
taken way too soon from us. Ion, I love her.
What great TV.
I love
she
everything
was.
about Ion.
all those early boots. Let's get Ion, Wells, Dorinda. Let's get them all on a season.
Wells. R.I.P.
Right.
And
Bring Jeremy back. Bring Tony back. Let them
Right.
try again. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Dylan, I actually will give an actual recipe for reality to someone. We haven't been covering it. We didn't cover the first season, but I'm gonna give a big ol' recipe for reality shout out to Philip on Deal or No Deal Island.
Yes.
If no one knows, I know Philip. Philip
Oh.
is my friend.
Oh,
Philip,
okay.
Sorry.
Slay!
Isn't he doing like really well too?
Yeah, a lot of people think he's gonna win. Sorry, we didn't do SpongeBob the musical together, and I couldn't direct it anymore. But you won a Perry for it anyway, so you're doing fine.
Oh, wow.
Deal or no deal.
Oh,
Also,
Wow.
Parvati hates you, but she loves you. It's weird. Good for you.
Oh my God, Zach, you're 1 degree separation away from Parvati. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's a very far degree.
Let's get her on the show. Last thing, recipe for reality. Shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say too. Oh, it was really good. Oh, I know who I'm gonna give the last recipe for reality to. The pole that took out Thomas's eye. That was a good shot. Not Bianca, the pole itself, because that was good aim to not medevac someone, but give us a memorable look. He's the Janine of the season. All right.
Those bruises are really doing one on him.
All right. It is past the 2-hour mark. I got to get to bed for rehearsal tomorrow. But thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, Austin and Ingrid, for being on here. And shout out to all your students who are hopefully watching and heard Austin say he prefers some more than others. And good best of luck. Best of luck in your Survivor pick'ems and all. But we'll be back soon to chat. We'll be seeing you Wednesday on the TikTok for our rankings. Otherwise, thank you so much and have a great night.